Chapter 381 Punishment Below. Nara and Maji didn't expect that Dong Shenyao would really punish them, and they had to run 5 laps around the playground outside. The playground outside is not small, a lap is 500 meters long. If it is a real genin, the 5 laps are nothing, but they are just a group of 3 or 4-year-old children. 5 laps are not one for them. Small amount. Ah what, go, Dong Shenyao scolded very sternly. Dong Shenyao had killed people before on the battlefield. Although he did not release his murderous aura, the cold eyes made a few people a little scared. At this time, they regretted that they didn't do their homework yesterday, but it was too late now. A few people could only leave the room together to run laps outside. In order to supervise them, Dong Shenyao also assigned a shadow clone. When Nara and Maji left, Dong Shenyao continued the class. Okay, now let's continue the lecture. Just like yesterday morning, Dong Shenyao began to explain the knowledge of chakra at this time, and he also asked the students if there was anything they didn't understand. Seeing that half of the class was over, I suddenly remembered a knock on the door. Dang dang dang. Come in. With a creak, the classroom door was pushed open, but it was not Nara and Ma who came in, but Nawaki, who was late. Tell me, why are you late? Dong Shenyao looked at the two of them expressionlessly. That teacher, I slept too late yesterday because of my homework, so I didn't get up in the morning. Another student said nervously. As for Nawaki, there was no trace of tension. He obviously thought that his relationship with Dong Shenyao would not be a problem. What's the matter? Sleep late is not a reason. I think there are many people in the class who sleep later than you. If you are late, you will be punished. The toilet on the first floor will be cleaned by you today. Dong Shenyao was rude. Ah! The student wailed suddenly. Don't worry, you won't be left alone, Nawaki, and you can also go to clean the toilet after school. Why? Nawaki was dissatisfied. Because you're late, unless you can give me a reason to convince me. Nawaki didn't speak because he had no good reason. Nawaki felt a little aggrieved when he thought that Dong Shenyao didn't think about the relationship between the two at all. Okay, you two, go in and listen to the class. The storm passed temporarily, and Dong Shenyao continued to go to class, but at this time, many people were thankful that they were not late. In fact, after seeing Uchiha Makoto late and not being punished yesterday, some people were moved, but in the end, most people didn't really dare to be late. It wasn't until the class was almost over that Nara and Maji came back out of breath. Well, not bad, go back to the class, remember to complete the homework carefully in the future, and remember to make up the homework tomorrow. What? We still have to hand in homework. Hyuga Hazashi and the others were about to cry. They thought everything would be over after the lap, but they didn't expect this to be just punishment, and the homework still had to be written. At this time, several people can't wait to go back in time. If they do it again, they will definitely finish their homework. By the way, Nawaki, show me your homework when you two finish class. Not long after the bell rang, the class was over, and Dong Shenyao didn't forget to check Nawaki's homework before leaving. Fang Dong Shenyao was relieved that although the two were late, they had finished their homework. Soon the morning time passed, and the last class at noon was over. Before leaving, Dong Shenyao did not forget to remind, after you have eaten at noon, don't forget to practice the handprint of the hand seal. I will check it during the class in the afternoon. After speaking, Dong Shenyao left. All of a sudden, these students were in a frenzy. If it was yesterday, they wouldn't care about Dong Shenyao's inspection, but with Nara and Ma's lessons in the morning, how can these students dare to be careless? After a few times, many people have already learned hand seal, but I still decided to practice hand seal well even if I don't eat at noon. In a blink of an eye, the day's class was over, and Dong Shenyao did not forget to check everyone's hand seal during the afternoon class. Maybe it was because of the morning experience, or the hand seal was relatively simple. In short, although everyone's hand seal can't be said how fast, but at least they have learned, very accurate. Dong Shenyao did not embarrass them either. It was time to dismiss school soon, but these students were not as happy as they were yesterday. Instead, they were all nervous because they would not forget that Dong Shenyao still had homework. There are also 3 assignments today. The first one is to preview tomorrow's course and review the knowledge learned today. I will ask questions tomorrow. The second is to continue practicing the hand seal. For the third homework, when you go back, copy the knowledge you learned about chakra twice. Okay, that's all for homework, let's get out of school. Because of yesterday's experience, when Dong Shenyao finished his homework, everyone's reaction was not as big as yesterday. By the way, Naoki, you too, don't forget to clean the toilet. After speaking, Dong Shenyao left the classroom. After waiting in the office for a long time, Uchiha Makoto arrived as promised. Makoto, you lie on the table and don't move. Dong Shenyao pointed at the tea table. This, Uchiha Makoto's cheek slammed into Yuhi, and she didn't know what to think. She seemed a little awkward. It was a very simple thing, and it took her more than 3 minutes to complete it. Then Dong Shenyao walked to the tea table and started to shoot. Don't think about it. Dong Shenyao didn't do anything beastly. I saw Dong Shenyao stretched out his fingers and kept lighting on Uchiha Makoto. If someone from the Hyuga clan opens Byakugan to observe at this time, they will find that every point of Dong Shenyao is an acupuncture point. As a practitioner of Yi Jin Jing, Dong Shenyao is no stranger to the acupuncture points of the human body. He deliberately recited the location of the acupuncture points before he passed through, and the acupoints of the human body in the Hokage world are no different from the world before Dong Shenyao passed through. Therefore, Dong Shenyao can accurately find the location of the acupuncture point without opening the Byakugan. At this time, Uchiha Makoto only felt that warm currents invaded her body. After these warm currents entered her body, they flowed through the body's meridians, making her very comfortable. Unconsciously, Uchiha Makoto groaned. After this exit, Uchiha Makoto's cheeks became more Yuhi. On the other hand, Dong Shenyao seemed to have found nothing, and kept lighting these acupuncture points on his own. Uchiha Makoto's body by clicking on the acupoints, and strengthened his body through these internal forces. As the internal force cultivated by Yi Jin Jing, these inner forces also have the effect of washing hair and cutting marrow, but they are not as powerful as directly cultivating Yi Jin Jing. But it is enough for other people, but it is a bit expensive, so Dong Shenyao will not be used lightly. Thank you 994,923,706 for the monthly ticket support. Chapter 382 The promotion task is coming. Uchiha Makoto was lying on the tea table, and Dong Shenyao kept clicking on her acupuncture points, pumping internal force into her body to wash her hair and cut marrow. Soon Shenyao clicked all the acupoints on the front of Uchiha Makoto, and then he didn't say anything, just raised his hand and turned Makoto over, making her back up. The previous action was repeated again and again. 10 minutes later, when everything was over, Dong Shenyao heaved a long sigh of relief. It's really tiring, but Uchiha Makoto alone consumes nearly 1/5 of my internal strength. Although I had already thought about it before, washing other people's hair and cutting marrow consumes a lot, but after I actually did it, Dong Shenyao was still frightened by this huge consumption. And this is only a preliminary shampooing and cutting of the marrow. If it is really meticulous, it will probably consume half of Dong Shenyao's internal strength. Makoto, get up. It's over. Hearing Dong Shenyao's words, Uchiha Makoto came back to his senses, feeling that the comfortable feeling gradually disappeared, and Uchiha Makoto was a little disappointed. Makoto, have you seen any changes in your body? Change? With doubt, Uchiha Makoto felt it. Teacher, I feel that my body has become more relaxed, as if a shackle has been removed. Uchiha Makoto said in surprise. Makoto, I chopped the hair and washed the marrow for you. If you practice again in the future, you will get twice the result with half the effort. Thank you, teacher, Uchiha Makoto said gratefully. Okay, take a rest and go back. I'll make some training plans for you tomorrow. Uchiha Makoto didn't speak, just looked at Tashinyao with adoring eyes. As a member of the Uchiha family, although Uchiha Makoto is young, she has a lot of knowledge. She has never heard of anyone who can wash hair and cut marrow for others. Most people want to wash the hair and cut the pith by using many precious medicinal materials to make a medicinal bath, but the medicinal materials that need to be consumed are so precious that even Uchiha Makoto is not qualified to use it. After more than 10 minutes, Uchiha Makoto finished resting, said goodbye to Dong Shenyao and went home. After that, Dong Shenyao didn't stay in the office for long and left soon. What he didn't expect was that he was stopped by someone not long after he left the school. "It's you, Naoki, why haven't you gone home yet?" Looking at the petite figure blocking him, Dong Shenyao was a little surprised. "Brother Yao, why are you punishing me today?" Naoki asked Dong Shenyao with an aggrieved look on his face. "Because you were late today and violated the rules of the school, you will naturally be punished. Naoki, although you have some relationship with me, but as a teacher, it is impossible for me to not punish you because you have a relationship with me. In that case, other people, what will I think of you?" Dongshin Yaoyu explained earnestly. Naoki didn't speak, but lowered his head in shame. "Naoki, you are a good boy, so don't break the school rules again in the future, and because you are related to me, you should lead by example." "Well, I know Brother Yao, I won't be late in the future," Naoki said firmly. "Naoki is so good, it's getting late, go home quickly, or your mother should be in a hurry." "Goodbye Brother Yao." After saying that, Naoki hurriedly trotted away. "Hey, the child now." After seeing Naoki leave, Dong Shenyao shook his head helplessly. In this way, Dong Shenyao's teaching career began. But at the beginning, Dong Shenyao was a little fresh, but it didn't take long for him to feel a little bored. After all, he taught basic courses to some children every day, and it was really not challenging. Shenyao began to be lazy and sent Shadow Clone directly to teach the students, while Dong Shenyao himself was either cultivating or staying at the Dark Blade headquarters. Of course, Tashinya didn't forget Uchiha Makoto either. It's just that she is still young and can't do much practice, so every day Dong Shenyao just uses her internal power to wash her hair and cut her marrow, and at the same time instruct her to practice some basic physical skills, and at other times let Uchiha Makoto refine chakra. As time passes by 10:10, from time to time Dong Shenyao will go to the underground exchange to see if there is a suitable quest for him. After half a year, Dong Shenyao once again completed 2 SS-level quests during this period. He can already take the promotion test. As long as he passes, he can become the 4th SSS-level bounty hunter in the bounty hunter world. At that time, his name as the Evil Emperor is justified. However, the SSS assessment task is not easy to receive. After Dong Shenyao completed the 10th SS level task, he waited for another month before finally receiving the promotion task. Kill the village chief of Shinen Village. When Dong Shenyao read the requirements of the promotion mission, Dong Shenyao couldn't help but be surprised. The Silk Ninja Village Dong Shenyao is no stranger. I met it before when I was taking the Chunin exam. This village belongs to the ally of the Iwagakure village. During the previous ninja war, Dong Shenyao also encountered this village on the battlefield of ninjas. However, with the defeat of Iwagakure village, Silk Ninja Village also suffered a lot. It has been recuperating for several years. Dong Shenyao did not expect that the mission this time was to kill the village chief of this village. Who the hell did the quest that was announced? It couldn't be Konoha village. Dong Shenyao didn't think so. After all, this is an SSS level quest, and there are quite a lot of quest bounties. Ordinary people simply can't afford it. Only those big forces can afford it. Can come up with so much money. Silk Ninja Village and Konoha Village also had festivals before, so it wouldn't be surprising that Konoha Village would issue this kind of quest. Dong Shenyao. Shaking his head, Dong Shenyao no longer cares about these 2.3. No matter who releases this quest, it has nothing to do with him. Anyway, Silk Ninja Village is not a friend or foe to him. The village chief of Silk Ninja Village is a quasi-shadow. If this is the case, then this task also belongs to the SS level. The reason why it is designated as the SSS level is mainly because of his identity as the village chief. As the village head, he will not leave the village easily, so if he wants to kill him, then Dong Shenyao must enter the Silk Ninja village. At that time, he will probably not be facing a village head of the Silk Ninja village, but the whole village. Silk Ninja village, it's very challenging, but I like it. A hint of anticipation appeared on Dong Shenyao's face. Although it is very likely that he will face an entire village, Dong Shenyao has no fear at all. Since the end of the war, he has not tried his best for several years, and his hands are already itchy. Chapter 383 Find the Village Chief. Silk Ninja Village is located within the Silk Country, which is also a small country, close to the Land of Earth, and is allied with the Land of Earth. The same Silk Ninja Village and Iwagakure Village are also allies. Of course, it is said that it is an ally, but in fact it is a vassal. Although the average strength of ninjas in the Silk Ninja Village is good, there are not many people, and because they participated in the Ninja World War before, even the Iwagakure Village suffered a lot, not to mention the Silk Ninja Village. According to information found by Dong Shenyao from Konoha Village, Silk Ninja Village originally had nearly 1,000 ninjas, but after the end of the Ninja War, the number of ninjas has dropped sharply to about 200, and some of them are old, weak and sick. Not much power. Although the Silk Ninja Village has increased the number of ninjas through recuperation in recent years, these are all rising stars. Because the time is still short, most of them are not strong. Dong Shenyao spent a total of 3 days collecting information on the Silk Ninja Village and other preparations. After 3 days, he left the Earth clone in the village, and then he quietly rushed to the Silk Ninja Village. 2 days later, Dong Shenyao entered the territory of the Silk Country, and he had already arrived outside the Silk Ninja Village at 15 in the afternoon. Although he had reached his destination, Dong Shenyao did not rush to take action. He just stood outside the Silk Ninja Village and looked at the village from a distance. At this time, there was a strong killing intent in Dong Shenyao's eyes. Before coming, he received a task in the system. S-level mission. Destroy Silk Ninja Village. Mission reward. 30,000 God-making points. If the Silk Ninja Village was in its heyday, Dong Shenyao would never accept this task. After all, it is easy to kill Zunying, but destroying a ninja village, especially a strong ninja village like Silk Ninja Village, that's not easy. The average cage-level powerhouse can't do it. After all, even if fighting alone is not an opponent, if a group of people join forces, the cage-level powerhouse will have to hate it. But it is different now. The strength of Silk Ninja Village has been greatly reduced, and it has not fully recovered. This allows Dong Shenyao to see an opportunity. With his current strength, it is possible to destroy the Silk Ninja Village. Confused, so in the end Dong Shenyao bit Kiba and took over the task. Silk Ninja Village was right in front of him, but Dong Shenyao just looked at it and left. In order to successfully complete the system task, Dong Shenyao is ready to rest and recuperate. Dong Shenyao directly rested in the wild for the night, and the next morning, he started to act. Although the Silk Ninja Village is fairly tightly guarded, even Konoha Village East Shenyao can come and go freely and no one can find it, not to mention a mere Silk Ninja Village. Through the escape technique, Dong Shenyao sneaked into the Silk Ninja Village very easily. Dong Shenyao was in the land, and he had a panoramic view of everything on it. After walking around the village, Dong Shenyao did not find the target of his promotion mission, Nobunaga Kinoshita, the village chief of Silk Ninja Village. But Dong Shenyao is not in a hurry, because he can't find him and can ask. Soon Dong Shenyao found a target. This is a one-story house. At this time, there is only one person in the room. Although this person is a ninja, it can be judged from the chakra Dong Shenyao in this person that this person is just a chunin, and there is no threat to Dong Shenyao. Chunin from Silk Ninja Village was wiping his ninja tools at home when Dong Shenyao suddenly emerged from the ground in front of him. After seeing a person suddenly appear in front of him, the ninja did not shout out, but was stunned. There was no way that Dong Shenyao appeared in a strange way, and he was still wearing a hat. The ninja could react. Dong Shenyao had already opened Sharingan, and instantly the Chunin had been hit by demonic illusion, and then through the soul control of pupil technique, Dong Shenyao easily got the memory of this ninja. From his memory, Dong Shenyao got the information he wanted. Then Ta Shenyao unceremoniously destroyed the soul of the ninja. At this time, the ninja's body is still alive, at least he is still breathing, and his heart is still beating, but without his soul, he is like a vegetative person, and it is still the kind that can never wake up again. Later, in order to destroy the corpse and destroy the traces, Dong Shenyao directly pulled the Chunin's body into the ground hundreds of meters deep. It is best that after all this, Dong Shenyao used the transformation technique to become the appearance of this Chunin. Hehe, if you go to see Nobunaga Kinoshita like this, there will be no problem. Thinking of this, Dong Shenyao left the room and went straight to Nobunaga Kinoshita's office. From Chunin's memory, Dong Shenyao, that Kinoshita Nobunaga usually worked in a 3-story building in the center of the village. Soon, according to his memory, Dong Shenyao came downstairs. No one stopped him. Dong Shenyao entered the building very smoothly, and soon found Nobunaga Kinoshita in an office on the 3rd floor. At this time, Nobunaga Kinoshita was reviewing documents, and he didn't know that someone came in who wanted to kill him. Because someone came, Kinoshita Nobunaga put down his work and entertained Ta Shenyao. What's the matter with you? Village chief, I'm here to take over the task. Well, the tasks are all here, you can see for yourself. With that, Nobunaga Kinoshita handed a few scrolls to Ta Shenyao. Dong Shenyao made a move to pick up the scroll, but the next moment, several shurikens had been shot out of 767 feet's hands. Whoosh whoosh. The speed of the shuriken is extremely fast, and the distance between the two is very close. In addition, Nobunaga Kinoshita never thought that the ninja in front of him would attack him, so even if Nobunaga Kinoshita had the strength of Quenkage, he was also attacked. PFF'd. Immediately, 3 shuriken hit Kinoshita Nobunaga's body, and then Dong Shenyao did not give Kinoshita Nobunaga a chance to breathe, and directly pursued the victory. A kunai appeared in Dong Shenyao's hand and went straight to Kinoshita Nobunaga to stab it. Dong Shenyao's speed was too fast. At this time, Kinoshita Nobunaga had no time to fight back, so he could only dodge, but he was still stabbed in the arm by Dong Shenyao, and at this moment, another Dong Shenyao suddenly appeared from the ground. Jinten particle style, split detachment of the primitive world technique. The barrier instantly enveloped Nobunaga Kinoshita. As an ally of Iwagakure village, Nobunaga Kinoshita is no stranger to Jinten particle style, and seeing himself shrouded in Jinten particle style barrier shocked him, but also a little scared. He knows Jinten particle style, so he knows more about Jinten particle style's destructive power, but he doesn't understand why Iwagakure village wants to kill himself. That's right, in his opinion, it must be someone from Iwagakure village who attacked him. And maybe it's Tsuchikajinoki, the 3rd generation of Iwagakure village. Chapter 384 1-1 Village Part 1. Kinoshita Nobunaga was very suspicious that it was Tsuchikage Onoki from Iwagakure village who attacked him, because the only known ninja in the ninja world who can know Jinten particle style is Onoki, and no one knows that Dong Shenyao will also be Jinten particle style. But no matter how much Kinoshita Nobunaga suspected, there was no time now. Boom! The white light ball in the barrier exploded, and everything in the barrier was instantly decomposed into molecular-sized materials, and Nobunaga Kinoshita had disappeared. It was so easy to kill a Quenying, but Dong Shenyao was not surprised at all. After all, with his strength, if he can't easily deal with a quasi-shadow in the case of a sneak attack, then he has been in vain all these years. After killing Nobunaga Kinoshita, Ta Shenyao, who had just used Jinten particle style, disappeared into smoke. Although Dong Shenyao was very careful, the movement in the room still alarmed the people outside. What's wrong with you, village chief? With a shout, the door was pushed open, and then several ninjas from Silk Ninja Village broke in. At this time, Dong Shenyao had already lifted the transformation technique. The ninjas in Silk Ninja Village were stunned for a while after seeing Dong Shenyao, but it was such a stunned skill that Dong Shenyao had already taken action. Kaden Fire Style, Great Fireball Jutsu. Woo! In an instant, the fire has covered these ninjas. Because of the sudden incident, most of these ninjas did not respond, but there was one person who was quite strong and used the substitute technique to escape in time. However, when he left the area covered by the fire, there were some burn marks left on his body. Obviously, although he used the ninjutsu very fast, he was still affected. Enemy attack. The only surviving ninja hurriedly shouted, and then he raised his hand regardless of his injuries. Whoosh whoosh. More than a dozen shuriken hit Dong Shenyao. Whoosh. Dong Shenyao disappeared in place in an instant, and he did not care about the ninjas who had turned into coke, and appeared directly in front of the ninja who had escaped disaster. The two just looked at each other. The shinobi village ninja froze immediately, and then fell silent. Now Dong Shenyao's demonic illusion is enough to kill Jonin in seconds, and even the average elite Jonin can't stop it. At this time, the ninjas in the entire building were already alarmed. Some went to ring the alarm bell to notify other people in the village, and some came to kill Dong Shenyao. Kaden Fire Style, Dragon Fire Bullet. Flames spewed out from Dong Shenyao's mouth, and instantly the entire third floor turned into a sea of fire. Boom! The explosion sounded, and it didn't take long for the entire third floor to explode, and then spread to the second floor. At this time, the third floor building became crumbling, and many weaker ninjas were either burned by flames or exploded. The shock wave killed them, and some people were unlucky enough to be hit by falling stones. Seeing that the building was about to collapse, Dong Shenyao hurriedly jumped out. Bang! As soon as he landed, Dong Shenyao saw a lot of ninjas surrounding the building at this time. After seeing him, a large number of shuriken and ninjutsu attacked. The Dong Shenyao hand seal was also not seen. The next moment the ground surged, and a large number of rocks rose from the ground and directly surrounded Dong Shenyao. Boom! Silk Ninja Village ninjas' attacks all hit the rocks, the explosion sounded, and a cloud of smoke rose. Bang! Suddenly the ground shook, and some ninjas fell unsteadily to the ground. Bang! 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 A dull sound came out, and then, under the gaze of a group of ninjas, a huge rock giant slowly walked out of the smoke. This is a rock giant with a height of more than 30 meters, and what is surprising is that a layer of golden armor shrouds the body of this rock giant. Seen Uchiha Madara fighting at this time will find that these golden armors are so similar to Susanoo. In recent years, Dong Shenyao has not been in vain. In addition to performing tasks, he has not forgotten to develop skills. At this time, this stone giant is the result of Dong Shenyao in the past few years. Different from the previous skill Earth Lord, that Earth Lord only assisted Dong Shenyao in the battle, but at this time Dong Shenyao was located in the body of this stone giant. For this skill, Dong Shenyao named him the Earth Lord. King. In addition to using solid rock to create a stone giant, this skill also incorporates Susanoo, the skill of the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, but unlike the people of the Uchiha clan, Toshinya uses Susanoo as armor. The combination of the two is far more powerful than using Susanoo alone, which is like the prestige form in the original book, but the prestige form uses Susanoo as Kyubi, Nine Tails, armor, and now it is used as the armor of Kyubi, Nine Tails. Armor of a rock giant. Of course, in terms of combat power now, the Earth King can't compare to the Susanoo prestige form in the original book, but the Earth King's strength is also extremely terrifying, enough to deal with cage-level masters. Boom! The Earth King stepped on the ground, and the ground burst open. Even if Dong Shenyao did not launch an attack, the weight of the Earth King alone on the ground was enough to cause huge damage to the earth. If it were a ninja, Jonin wouldn't be able to stand it. Roar! Dong Shenyao was inside the King of the Earth at this time, and after controlling the King of the Earth with a roar, he directly raised his foot and stomped the ground fiercely. Boom! The sound of the explosion sounded, and the power of this kick was comparable to that of Grade A ninja. Land. Okay, so scary. The ninjas of these silk ninja villages were directly frightened. Bang! He stepped down again. This time, several ninjas were trampled to death, and one by one they turned into meat patties. This is not an exaggeration, but the fact that when the Earth King lifted his feet, he could see a puddle of meat chan remaining on the ground. Don't be afraid, attack quickly, or we will all die. Some ninjas shouted, calling their companions, wanting to resist the King of the Earth together. After all, it is a ninja, and many people have been on the battlefield, so after the initial chaos, they quickly calmed down. Everyone attack with me. After a greeting, a ninja with elite Jonin strength, Han Seal, was ready to use ninjutsu. He knew that in the face of the huge King of the Earth, there was no ordinary taijutsu at all, so he could only use ninjutsu to attack. Silk Done Silk Twisting. Chapter 385 One Person to One Village Part 2. Si Dun Si Chan Rao. Whoosh whoosh. The elite Jonin waved his hand, and suddenly countless threads shot out. These threads went directly to Chan Rao's body, trying to control him. However, the power of the King of the Earth was too great. He just lifted his leg slightly, and all of these threads suddenly broke, and even the ninja who used ninjutsu was affected, and the whole person was thrown out. Boom! When the big feet landed, there was a roar, and Dong Shenyao didn't stop at all. His current purpose was to destroy the village, so naturally he would continue to attack. Susanoo comes with its own weapons, but Dong Shenyao doesn't plan to use them, because the usual Susanoo's own weapons are relatively common, not so-called divine weapons, with no special abilities. At the same time, more and more ninjas joined the fight. Silk Dun Qianxi Chan Rao. This time, dozens of ninjas used ninjutsu together, and the number and quality of silk threads that appeared were improved, and the King of the Earth was really trapped for a while. Come on, we can win. Seeing this scene, the ninjas in Silk Ninja Village seemed to be inspired, and their morale rose suddenly. Tips for carving bugs. Dong Shenyao smiled disdainfully. Jinten particle style boundary gun. Han Seal with both hands, and immediately saw a long spear appearing in the hands of the 610 King of the Earth. This gun is not an ordinary gun, it was condensed by Dong Shenyao using Jinten particle style. The detachment of the primitive world technique in Jinten particle style is improved, and the enchantment of Jinten particle style is condensed and grown. It looks like a gun, and has the terrible attack power of Jinten particle style. Even if it is cage, once the level master is hit, he can't bear it. The King of the Earth waved his hand, and the Jinten particle style spear in his hand suddenly danced. Boom! The long spear slid across the ground, and immediately brought up a stream of dust and smoke, and all the places touched by the long spear turned into molecules. This time, not only was the silk thread wrapped around the King of the Earth destroyed, but also many ninjas who couldn't dodge were also killed. Most of these people died under the spear, their bodies turned into molecules, and even the bodies were not left behind. Boom! The long spear hit the ground again, the ground cracked, and the cracks spread directly across the small ninja village. A large number of buildings were destroyed. Many ordinary villagers fell directly into the cracks, and some were even killed by collapsed houses. Just this one blow, hundreds of people died. Of course, most of them were ordinary villagers. Boom! 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 The King of the Earth kept bombarding the ground, and from time to time, the ninjas of the Silk Ninja Village were killed. As for the attacks of these ninjas on the King of the Earth, they were directly ignored by Dong Shenyao, because they even defended the King of the Earth. Can't break. If all the ninjas of Silk Ninja Village are united, they can still cause some obstacles to Dong Shenyao, but unfortunately, because Dong Shenyao attacked suddenly, and killed the village chief Nobunaga Kinoshita as soon as they came up, and without a leader, these ninjas, it was just a group of rabble, and the strength displayed by Dong Shenyao had already scared them to the core, so it was impossible to organize an effective resistance at all. It didn't take long for half of the village to be destroyed by Dong Shenyao. I don't know how many people died in his hands, but the killing didn't stop. At first, there were people who resisted, but now, everyone just ran away, because resistance was useless at all. this was not a battle, it was a massacre. Go! Under the control of Dong Shenyao, the Earth King waved his hand and threw the long spear out of his hand. Boom! The long gun flew straight for hundreds of meters, and finally fell to the ground, and suddenly many buildings were destroyed. Jintan particle style detachment of the primitive world technique. With the launch of Dongshenyao ninjutsu, I saw that the original diameter was only half a meter long. The spear quickly became larger, and finally turned into a circular Jinchuriki, column-shaped light Jinchuriki column. Boom! The light Jinchuriki column directly enveloped the land with a radius of more than 300 meters. Within the shrouded range of the light Jinchuriki column, everything was destroyed. Has been broken down into molecules. Just this time, nearly 1,000 people were killed, and many of them were ninjas. Then Dong Shenyao didn't stop, and the killing continued. This was a catastrophe for Siren village. The earth collapsed, the ground shook and the mountains shook. The people here either died in the hands of Dong Shenyao, or died under various disasters. After half an hour, everything subsided, and the Silk Ninja village had disappeared at this time, replaced by ruins. There was no intact building here, and the ground was full of cracks, like a scene after an earthquake. There are also many large pits in the ruins, which are caused by Jintan particle style. After destroying the Silk Ninja village and receiving the reminder of the completion of the mission, Dong Shenyao did not rush to leave until he confirmed that there was no one alive here through Byakugan's clairvoyance ability, and then Dong Shenyao dispersed the king of the earth. I'm really tired. As he landed on the ground, Dong Shenyao took a long breath. Don't look at the power of this king of the earth, but it also consumes a lot of energy. At this time, he consumes most of his chakra and some internal energy. But the effect is very good, a village is just wiped out. Now I can challenge a village by myself. Dong Shenyao laughed. Of course, he just wanted to deal with these small ninja villages. If it was a big ninja village like Konoha village, he couldn't do it. After all, there are at least thousands of ninjas in these big ninja villages, and even tens of thousands of people at their peak are nothing. Even if these people are not strong individually, once they are united together, Dong Shenyao really has no way to compete now, unless he reaches Super Cage level and has the kind of strength when Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara founded Konoha village. The possibility of one person challenging a big ninja village. Although there was no one here anymore, Dong Shenyao didn't stay here either. He used the teleportation technique and left. It didn't take long for the news of the annihilation of Silk Ninja village to spread throughout the Silk country, and Iwagakure village soon got the news. Siren village was destroyed. After hearing the news, Onoki was a little shocked. Sea Ninja village was not weak, but now it was suddenly destroyed, which made him unbelievable. Do you know who did it? Onoki asked, looking at his subordinates. My lord is still unclear, but someone offered a reward to the village chief of Shininen village, Nobunaga Kinoshita, in the underground exchange. This task was also accepted. Do you think there will be any connection between these two things? Chapter 386 King of Hunters. Underground Exchange. After hearing his subordinate's words, Onoki couldn't help but be taken aback. As the shadow of a village, he naturally knew about the underground exchange, and even more so, he knew the strength of the underground exchange. Impossible, if one of those bounty hunters can kill Nobunaga Kinoshita, but destroy Silk Ninja village, that's impossible, not even the so-called three emperors, unless the three emperors join forces. Onoki did not believe. Even if Silk Ninja village is only a small ninja village, and its strength has been greatly reduced because of the war, it is impossible to destroy without the strength of the late Cage level or even the peak. Any other clues? Onoki continued. Not at the moment. If you don't, continue to investigate. No matter what, Silk Ninja village is our ally. This incident is a provocation to our Iwagakure village. We must avenge Silk Ninja village, otherwise it will chill the hearts of our other allies. Onoki said seriously. Yes. After taking orders, the man was about to leave, but he was stopped by Onoki as soon as he reached the door. Wait a minute. Is there anything else, sir? Don't let it go in the underground exchange, and investigate who took over the task. Although Onoki didn't think that a bounty hunter could do such a thing, he wouldn't let go of this clue easily. Yes. After destroying the Silk Ninja Village, Dong Shenyao's mission was completed, and he directly got 30,000 god-making points, which is also a lot of income for the current Dong Shenyao. I was thinking about whether to exchange the real body of a fairy. When the body of a fairy is combined with the eternal Mangekyo, it is possible to obtain Rinnegan. Of course, it is only possible. Dong Shenyao is not sure whether the combination of these two powers can evolve Rinnegan. After all, in order to obtain Rinnegan, in addition to these two conditions, the power of Indra and Asura may also be required. Although the Silk Country also had an underground exchange, Dong Shenyao was not in a hurry to hand over the quest. The destruction of Silk Ninja Village will undoubtedly cause a great sensation, and perhaps Iwagakure Village will want him. If the underground exchange betrays him, it will also be a problem for Dong Shenyao. After all, the Silk Country is the sphere of influence of Iwagakure Village. The underground exchange has a criminal record, and he sold his information to the Kumogakure Village before, so Dong Shenyao does not believe in the underground exchange. It wasn't until after returning to the Land of Fire that Dong Shenyao directly found the underground exchange where he took the mission. I want to hand in the task. In the underground exchange, Dong Shenyao said to the waiter, and at the same time handed over the task scroll and the identity token. Congratulations, Lord Evil Emperor. Although Dong Shenyao covered his face, it was not the first time that this waiter had seen him. The previous task was also released by this waiter, so he recognized Dong Shenyao directly at this time. The news about the destruction of Silk Ninja Village is also known to the underground exchange. Maybe other people do not know who did it, but the underground exchange is very clear that it is definitely the evil emperor. After all, the evil emperor just took over the task of killing Nobunaga Kinoshita, and within a few days, the Silk Ninja Village was destroyed. How can there be such a coincidence in the world? So the underground exchange deduced that it was the evil who destroyed the Silk Ninja Village. Emperor. Of course, this matter is basically known only to the top executives of the underground exchange. Originally, this waiter was not qualified to know such secrets, but he was the task issuer, so he would know. To be able to destroy Silk Ninja Village, this kind of ruthless man naturally makes the waiter both respect and fear. It didn't take long for the waiter to bring the bounty and a new identity token. Congratulations to the evil emperor for becoming the 4th SSS level bounty hunter in the ninja world from today. The waiter said with a pleasing smile. From this moment on, the code name of the evil emperor of Dong Shenyao is truly justifiable. Emperor is a name that only SSS level bounty hunters can use. After receiving the bounty and token, Dong Shenyao did not leave in a hurry, but asked, as the bounty hunter SSS level the pinnacle. Dong Shenyao has not forgotten that he still has a mission to become the strongest in the bounty hunter world, surpassing the 3 emperors. If the SSS level is the apex, then his mission cannot be completed. For the strongest, he can still find a chance to fight against the 3 emperors, but being above the 3 emperors means status, and it is useless just for strength. Facing Dong Shenyao's question, the waiter hesitated. Speak up if you have something to say. Dong Shenyao scolded in dissatisfaction. Sir Evil Emperor, the SSS bounty hunter is indeed not the pinnacle, there is another level above it, called the King of Hunters, but although there is such a level, since the establishment of the underground exchange, no one has ever reached this level. Grade. Oh, why is this? Dong Shenyao asked curiously. Because in name, the King of Hunters is the king of the underground exchange, or the master, who rules the underground exchange, so you don't want to be the King of Hunters just by doing tasks, even if you complete 100s of SSS level quests, and you can't become the King of Hunters. Then how can I become the King of Hunters? Dong Shenyao asked. He believed that as long as he became the King of Hunters, then he could complete the task. Sorry, Lord Xie Huang. I'm just a person who issues tasks, and my status in the underground exchange is not very high, so I don't know how to become the king of hunters, but if you want to know, I can put this notify the top of the underground exchange about it and let them answer you. Quote. Dong Shenyao did not speak when he heard the words, but lowered his head and fell into contemplation. To be honest, although he knew about the underground exchange, he really didn't know who the top executives of the underground exchange were. The king of hunters can rule the underground exchange. I am afraid that no one can become the king of hunters, but the underground exchange does not allow the existence of the king of hunters. Dong Shenyao understands that power can corrupt people's hearts, and it is impossible for the high-level executives of the underground exchanges to allow someone to ride on their heads. So if someone wants to become the king of hunters, I am afraid that these people will try their best to stop them. Looks like it's going to be a while to meet the high-level executives of these underground exchanges. Thinking of this, Dong Shenyao raised his head. At this moment, the eyes under his beauty pupils have changed, and Eternal Mangekyo has been opened at an unknown time. The waiter's eyes suddenly lost focus, but because there was no one nearby, no one noticed the change in the waiter. Chapter 387 High-Level Underground Exchange. Although this waiter has some status in the underground exchange, he is only an ordinary person, not a ninja, so he has no resistance in the face of Dong Shenyao's soul control. I got the information I wanted in my memory. This waiter can only be regarded as a middle-level manager in the underground exchange, so the information he knows is limited. From this person's memory, Dong Shenyao learned that the underground exchange basically has a general person in charge of each country in the entire ninja world. Of course, because of the largest area among the 5 ninja countries, it is among the 5 countries. Each country has 3 chiefs in charge. Below these general managers are the managers of the various underground exchanges. As for this waiter, he only belongs to this underground exchange, and above him is the manager of the exchange. From the waiter's memory, Dong Shenyao already knew the position of the manager, and he left the underground exchange without wasting any time. After Dong Shenyao left for a minute, the waiter recovered, but he didn't realize what had just happened. In the waiter's impression, Dong Shenyao had already left. After returning to the ground, Dong Shenyao did not rush to leave the town, because the manager of the underground exchange was in this town. 5 or 6 minutes later, Dong Shenyao came to a mansion. Although Byakugan has not been opened, Dong Shenyao can perceive that there are several people with chakra in this mansion. Looking around, after seeing no one around, Dong Shenyao's body slowly sank into the ground, and then he directly entered the mansion. After walking around the mansion, Dong Shenyao found the person he was looking for in a room. Although he had never seen it before, Dong Shenyao had seen the appearance of the manager of the exchange in the waiter's memory. The manager was drinking tea in the room, and Dong Shenyao directly broke the wooden floor on the ground and appeared in the room. Bang! What? The sound of the floor cracking shocked the manager. When he saw Dong Shenyao emerging from the ground, he opened his mouth to shout, but before he could shout, the manager's eyes became confused the next moment. Get up! At a critical moment, Dong Shenyao has taken control of his soul. Although this person is a manager and has a higher status than a waiter, he is not a ninja, just an ordinary person, so it is very easy for Dong Shenyao to use his soul to control him. What happened, my lord? The movement in the room alarmed the guards outside. It's all right, you all retire. Under the control of Dong Shenyao, the manager directly sent the guards away, and then Dong Shenyao was not polite and directly read the memory. This underground exchange is so secret. Dong Shenyao was a little surprised, because he found out that even this manager didn't know who the top executives of the underground exchange were. It seems that I can only find the chief in charge. There are 3 chief executives in the country of fire. The manager Dong Shenyao found at this time is under the jurisdiction of one of the chief executives. From this person's memory, Dong Shenyao already knows the chief executive whereabouts. Dong Shenyao didn't stop, and left directly. As for how the manager will react when he wakes up, he won't care, anyway, he has erased his memory about himself. 3 hours later, under the rush of Dong Shenyao, he came to the capital of the country of fire, where he met one of the 3 chief executives of the underground exchange in the Country of Fire. However, after seeing this person in charge, Dong Shenyao was a little surprised, because Dong Shenyao noticed the existence of chakra in this person, but he was not a ninja, but a warrior. After the rise of the ninja, although there are still samurai, but the samurai is no longer pure, and the samurai now also need to practice chakra. Although he was surprised that the person in charge was a samurai, Dong Shenyao did not change his plan, because his strength was not strong, and there was no accident. The person in charge was also successfully controlled by Dong Shenyao's soul. Everything went well. The person in charge was already a high-level executive in the underground exchange, and he naturally knew very well about the underground exchange. From this person's memory, Dong Shenyao knew the structure of the underground exchange. The underground exchange is different from the ninja village. There is no ruler. There are 9 elders who manage the underground exchange. They are also the highest level of the underground exchange. The 9 elders of the underground exchange are usually not together. Unless something major happens in the underground exchange, they only meet once a year, and they are busy at other times. After all, underground exchanges are not strict organizations, so they don't need to work too hard. And the identities of these 9 elders are also different. 3 of them are big businessmen in the ninja world, rich, and 3 of them used to be bounty hunters, but then they got older, and they themselves are wandering ninjas, so they were arrested. The elders of the previous generation of the underground exchange valued him and took over the position of elders. The last 3 elders, who were originally the managers of the underground exchange, later became outstanding and took over the positions of the elders of the previous generation. The elders of the underground exchanges are all acquired through inheritance. When the elders of the previous generation get older, they will look for successors. The successor that the merchant elder is looking for is the merchant, and the others are looking for people with the same identity as their successors. Therefore, the composition of the 9 elders of the underground exchange has been passed down for hundreds of years. It has always been composed of 3 businessmen, 3 bounty hunters, and 3 managers of the exchange. After learning about this situation, Dong Shenyao couldn't help frowning. Although he knew the identities of these 9 elders, they were scattered all over the ninja world, and it was not easy to find them. It seems that we will have to wait for a while. Dong Shenyao could only give up. From the general manager, Dong Shenyao learned that the annual meeting of the underground exchange will be held in a few months. The elders will gather together and listen to the reports of the various chief executives. This is an opportunity for Dong Shenyao. Now Dong Shenyao is already an SSS level bounty hunter. If he is not the king of hunters, he has already stood at the pinnacle of bounty hunters. To become the king of hunters is not just about doing tasks. From the person in charge, Dong Shenyao also got the condition to become the king of hunters. After seeing this condition, Dong Shenyao was a little speechless. Chapter 388 Tsunade returns. The concept of the king of hunters is a concept proposed by the underground exchange when it became independent hundreds of years ago, but it is only a concept. After so many years, no one has ever been able to become the king of hunters. At the beginning, the underground exchange really hoped that there would be a king of hunters and led them to become a real big force in the ninja world, but unfortunately, with the passage of time, the people of the underground exchange were gradually corrupted by power. I don't know which generation started from. The 9 elders are no longer looking for the king of hunters, because they are used to giving orders, and they do not want to be the subordinates of others. Gradually, the name of the king of hunters was forgotten, and only people in the underground exchange knew such a title. So now Dong Shenyao wants to become the king of hunters, not only to pass the assessment, but also to solve the 9 elders of the underground exchange and make them surrender. As for the assessment of the king of hunters, there are only 2 conditions. These 2 conditions have been passed down for hundreds of years and have existed since the underground exchange just became independent. The first condition is strength. The king of hunters must have the strength to overwhelm the crowd, so the first condition is that the king of hunters must be able to defeat all SSS level bounty hunters, and 15 and remember, not alone. SSS level bounty hunters, but to defeat all SSS-level bounty hunters together. Of course, there is a condition that is not a condition before this. That is, only SSS-level bounty hunters are eligible to become the king of hunters, which means that before the assessment, one must first become an SSS-level bounty hunter, otherwise the strength will be stronger. Can't be the king of hunters either. Of course, this is not a problem for Dong Shenyao. As for defeating all the SSS-level bounty hunters, Dong Shenyao was also relieved, because fortunately, there were only 3 SSS-level bounty hunters besides himself. But at least there is hope. If there are 7 or 8 SSS-level bounty hunters, Dong Shenyao doesn't know how many years it will take to defeat them. The second condition is to be recognized by 6 of the 9 elders. At the very beginning of the underground exchange, this condition was very simple. As long as someone could fulfill the first condition, basically no elders would object. But later, the underground exchange was rotten, and Dong Shenyao learned from the memory of the person in charge that there was a ruthless man who actually fulfilled the first condition and defeated other SSS-level bounty hunters to join forces, but he failed to pass the second condition. At that time, only 2 of the 9 elders agreed, and all the other 7 opposed it. At that time, the bounty hunter was very angry, and several elders may also know that the bounty hunter was unwilling, so they later set a trap and killed him directly. However, although this person was successfully resolved, the underground exchange also suffered heavy losses. However, it can be seen from this incident that the 9 elders of the underground exchange are not allowed to have hunter kings, so Dong Shenyao should solve the second condition before reaching the first condition, otherwise that person is his lesson learned. Even if he fulfills the first condition, he will be besieged by the underground exchange. It's really troublesome. These elders of the underground exchange are not so easy to solve. Although the 3 businessmen are not ninjas, they are just ordinary people, but they are all big businessmen in the ninja world, and they have trade relations with many ninja villages, so they are affected by it. With the protection of various villages, even Dong Shenyao can't be tough, so the only thing Dong Shenyao can do is to brainwash them. But brainwashing is not an easy thing. It's not reading memory. Brainwashing is a troublesome thing. In addition, there are 3 underground exchange managers. They seem to be the best solution, but these people are cunning rabbits in 3 caves. No one knows their residence. Only possible at the meeting. Then there are the 3 bounty hunter elders. They are even more difficult to deal with because they are all ninjas, and before becoming elders, the worst is SS rank bounty hunters. Hey, it looks like it's going to be a long-term plan. Dong Shenyao temporarily put aside the matter of the Hunter King, and at the same time did not continue to accept the quest. After becoming an SSS-level bounty hunter, Dong Shenyao was already able to take on SSS-level quests, but he gave up after reading it. SSS-level tasks of the underground exchange are not easy. Here he saw the task of hunting the shadows of various villages. Some asked to hunt Sarutobi Hiruzen, and there were also Onoki. In short, there were tasks to assassinate the shadows of the 5 great kingdoms of ninjas. In addition, there are the tasks of destroying Shaonan village, or assassinating daimyo, etc. In short, as long as these tasks are completed, it will definitely cause a country to hunt down. Since SSS-level quests have nothing to do with becoming the king of hunters, Dong Shenyao naturally won't do these difficult quests. With nothing to do, Dong Shenyao simply went to Chenjiguo for a few days, and then returned directly to Konoha village. Ta Shenyao's teaching career started again. Although the Earth clone has been in class during this time, the students are still having a hard time, and they have a lot of homework every day. No student dares to skip homework. Now the students of Class 1 have given Dong Shenyao a nickname, that is, the Devil Teacher. In the eyes of these students, Dong Shenyao is a devil, and they envy the students of other classes, because most of the time other classes do not have homework. Yes, there are very few if any. But envy doesn't help, because unless they drop out, they can't even change classes if they want to. All other classes were skipping classes and arriving late, but only one class did not, because Dong Shenyao's punishment was too harsh, and no one dared to go against Dong Shenyao. After returning to school again, In addition to cultivating and paying attention to the development of the dark blade, Dong Shenyao can only pass the time by training and teaching the students in Class 1 every day, so the life of these students in Class 1 is even worse. Every day Dong Shenyao will change the way to deal with them, often looking for opportunities to punish them, either by letting them run in circles, or standing upside down and so on. And just 10 days after Dong Shenyao returned to the village, Tsunade finally returned. Teacher, my sister came back yesterday. After the first class was over, Naoki secretly approached Dong Shenyao and informed him of the news. Hearing this, Dong Shenyao's eyes suddenly lit up. Thank you 15,055,005,670 for the monthly ticket support. Chapter 389 Yin Seal. Hearing the news of Tsunade's return from Naoki, Tashinya couldn't sit still. Naoki, what is your sister doing now? Facing Dong Shenyao's question, Naoki smiled proudly in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. Instead he replied seriously, Teacher, my sister hadn't woken up when I left home, so I don't either know what she's doing. Well, I see. Now Dong Shenyao has no energy to talk to Naoki. Tsunade has been gone for several years, and Dong Shenyao has long missed it. Sending Naoki away, Dong Shenyao got up and left the classroom. Then he returned to the office and assigned a shadow clone to continue teaching at the school, but he secretly left the school. It didn't take long for Dong Shenyao to stand outside Tsunade's house. Dang dang dang. There was a knock on the door, and more than 2 minutes later, when the door opened, a familiar figure appeared in Dong Shenyao's sight. Hello, Aunt Haruko. Yao, you're here. Haruko seemed very happy after seeing Dong Shenyao. Come in. Saying that, Chunzi turned to one side and gave way. Dong Shenyao was not polite and walked in directly. Aunt Haruko, I heard that Tsunade is back, right? Dong Shenyao didn't make any excuses. He asked straight to the point as soon as he came in. That's right, Tsunade came back yesterday. She just woke up. I'll take you to find her. After closing the door, Haruko enthusiastically pulled Dong Shenyao towards the mansion. Dong Shenyao has come here many times, and since he has an extraordinary relationship with Tsunade, he is very familiar with the environment here. It didn't take long for him to discover that Haruko had brought him outside the yard where Tsunade lived. This was originally the home of Senju Hashirama. Although it is not comparable to the Uchiha clan and directly owns an independent clan land, the mansion is not small in size and has many courtyards. Tsunade has been independent after graduating from the ninja school, living alone and in a courtyard. Tsunade, come out and see who's coming. Haruko shouted before entering the door. Who's here, Mom? Although his voice changed a bit, Dong Shenyao could still hear it. It was Tsunade's voice, but compared to a few years ago, his voice was a little more mature. It didn't take long for the sound to sound. The door was opened with a squeak, and then a beautiful figure came out. Who is Mom? Tsunade stopped before she could finish her words, and saw her staring at Dong Shenyao blankly, and she was stunned there for a while. Tsunade, who has grown up a lot, Dong Shenyao is also very excited, but because he has been psychologically prepared in advance, Dong Shenyao did not lose his composure like Tsunade. I saw Dong Shenyao directly stepped forward a few steps and walked in front of Tsunade, then gently pulled up her hand and said, Tsunade, you are finally back. Yao. Tsunade also came back to his senses at this time, and suddenly cheered, and then threw himself directly into his arms. Yao is great, I finally see you again. Looking at the two hugging each other, Haruko didn't say a word. She knew that her daughter and Dong Shenyao must have a lot to talk about, so she left silently, so as not to disturb the two who had met again after a long absence. It's nice to be young, Haruko muttered before leaving. Tsunade buried his head in front of Dong Shenyao, and it didn't take long for Dong Shenyao to feel his shang. He knew that Tsunade was crying. Dong Shenyao did not persuade him, he just hugged Tsunade tightly and used his actions to comfort Tsunade. It took more than 10 minutes for Tsunade to calm down. After raising his head from the front of Dong Shenyao, Tsunade looked at Dong Shenyao in awe, and then reached out and stroked his face. Yao, do you know, I've been thinking of you for the past few years. In order to see you earlier, and to ease my thoughts about you, I practice hard every day, strive to meet the requirements as soon as possible, and at the same time, I also use practice to numb myself. Let me forget you for a while. But even so, I can still see you often in my dreams. Yao, you tell me, now I'm not dreaming, we really meet. Tsunade, you're not dreaming, you feel warm when you touch me. Dong Shenyao pressed his palm on the back of Tsunade's hand, letting her feel the temperature on her face. Dong Shenyao knew that Tsunade undoubtedly missed him more than himself. After all, Dong Shenyao still had Asuka, but Tsunade was the only one. Thinking of Tsunade's efforts to cultivate in order to see him as soon as possible, Dongshin's dazzling eyes couldn't help showing a look of pity. Tsunade, will you leave this time? No, Tsunade shook his head desperately. Yao, my cultivation is over, and I can only rely on myself in the future, so I don't need to go to that place to cultivate in the future. Tsunade said happily. Tsunade, congratulations on getting stronger. But I'd rather not, if I knew it would take so long, I wouldn't go with my grandma, Tsunade complained. Okay, your grandma is also doing this for your own good. The ninja world is not peaceful. Although I can protect you, accidents will still happen. Dong Shenyao advised. Yeah, Tsunade nodded obediently, but didn't complain anymore. In fact, Tsunade understands all these truths. She said that more because she was acting like a spoiled child for the sake of showing off to the East God. Women, acting like a spoiled child to a man is innate and doesn't need to be learned. Suddenly Tashinyao noticed that there was a small dot on Tsunade's forehead, like a birthmark. This is the Yin seal. It seems that this ninjutsu was taught to her by Mito. Tsunade, where did you go to cultivate, and why did it take so long? Although Dong Shenyao had some guesses, he still asked. Facing Dong Shenyao, Tsunade didn't hide the slightest, and replied directly, I went to the Shibone forest this time. After speaking, perhaps afraid that Dong Shenyao didn't know about this place, Tsunade explained the Shibone forest in detail. What is the place? It turned out to be the site of psychic beasts. Congratulations to Tsunade for getting such a powerful psychic beast. Dong Shenyao congratulated. Although the attack power of the slug is not as good as that of the snake family and the toad family, it is very suitable for Tsunade, which is the most important. Ninjas don't have to be very powerful to find psychic beasts, but they must be suitable for themselves. Yao, do you know, my grandma is also an excellent medical ninja. This time I learned a lot of medical ninjutsu from her. And I also learned some sealing techniques. This is called Yin Seal, which can seal a large amount of chakra. Use it when necessary. Tsunade said triumphantly, pointing to the mark on his forehead. Chapter 390 Angry Tsunade. This Yin Seal can be used to seal chakras. The chakras that are usually extracted can be sealed in this, and then used when needed, which can greatly increase my battery life. Tsunade pointed to the seal on his forehead and said with interest. As the granddaughter of Senju Hashirama, Tsunade did not inherit the inheritance of Mokuten, wood style, but her physique can be regarded as a pseudo-immortal body. Originally, the number of chakras would exceed the ninjas of the same level. Even people who are stronger than her in the number of carats can't match her. Tsunade, you are amazing. Dong Shenyao praised. Where is it? Grandma is still very good. She taught me this ninjutsu. Tsunade was a little embarrassed to be praised by Tashinya, but the proud look in his eyes could not be concealed. Tsunade is a good Yin Seal. With it, the number of chakras will increase by more than 10 times. In this way, you can try to develop some powerful ninjutsu. Even if the chakra consumption is too much, it doesn't matter. Dong Shenyao led the way. Among the original works, Tsunade's strongest attack ability is chakra-enhanced strength, but Tsunade's most powerful is medical ninjutsu, especially the forbidden technique developed to create regeneration and Baihao. These two ninjutsus can make Tsunade immortal for a short period of time. With this ninjutsu, Tsunade can unscrupulously use strange power to attack the enemy. Of course, although these two forbidden technique 443 are powerful, they are at the expense of shortening the lifespan, which is why they become forbidden technique. However, this is not a problem in Dong Shenyao's view. The so-called shortening of lifespan, in Dongshan Dazzling, is just a huge consumption of life force. He is now fully capable of replenishing life force for Tsunade, so as long as he is there, Tsunade can use these two forbidden techniques recklessly. I understand, but this is so difficult. It's too difficult to develop ninjutsu. Tsunade said helplessly. It may be nothing to develop ordinary ninjutsu, but it is not so easy to develop powerful ninjutsu. After all, not everyone is like Kakashi, who can develop a powerful Raiden, Thunder-style ninjutsu like Chidori at a young age. Tsunade, you can try to develop some offensive medical ninjutsu. Ta Xinyao reminded. Attack ability. How can medical ninjutsu have attack ability? Why not? Dong Shengyao smiled proudly. In the original book, the application of medical ninjutsu to combat was invented by Tsunade, but in order to allow Tsunade to quickly increase his strength, Dong Shengyao prepared to give her some guidance. Tsunade talks about the understanding of the human body, who can compare with the medical ninja, and through the understanding of the body, the medical ninja can know where to attack the most easily, and at the same time can cause the most damage to the human body, but also know how to use how much power is just right. So in fact, a clever medical ninja can become a powerful fighting ninja. Tsunade, I believe that you can develop medical ninjutsu that can both heal wounds and attack. By then, you will be the originator of medical ninjas. What Tsunade was told by Ta Xinyao was blood-boiling. The originator, what a glorious title. Even if Tsunade is still young, he was inevitably tempted by this title. Well, I'll try my best. Although Dong Shengyao could completely exchange all those medical ninjutsu from the system, he did not do that, because in Dong Shenyao's view, it would undoubtedly be better if Tsunade could develop it himself, because learning and development is completely different. Learning is just learning to apply. But if it can be developed independently, it will undoubtedly greatly increase Tsunade's understanding of medical ninjutsu, which is unmatched by learning ninjutsu alone. Of course, in order to speed up the progress, Dong Shengyao will also give Tsunade some guidance, such as the chakra scalpel. He can tell some of the functions, and then let Tsunade figure out how to develop this ninjutsu. Of course, now that the two have finally met again, Dong Shengyao certainly won't talk about ninjutsu in such a dismal manner. Dong Shengyao stopped talking about ninjutsu, but changed the subject and said a love story started. On this day, Dong Shengyao was with Tsunade all the time, and he didn't go to school. Anyway, there was Shadow Clone there. Through a day of small talk, Dong Shengyao and the two also have some understanding of each other's experiences in the past few years. Of course, Tsunade did not hide anything, but Dong Shengyao concealed some things, such as the bounty hunter. He didn't say it. Tsunade, now that Orochimaru and Jiraiya are not in the village, what are your plans? Although Dong Shengyao didn't pay much attention to the things in the village in recent years, he still knows most of the things, such as Jiraiya and Orochimaru. The two of them went out for a trip half a year ago, which means they belong to Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen disciple. That's why I have this privilege. Now that the village is short of people, how can ordinary people let him leave? Ah, neither of them are here. Tsunade felt a little helpless. Really, they are still preparing to participate in the Chunin selection. What should they do now that they are not there? Although Tsunade is very strong now, the rank in the village is still a genin, and 3 people must be required to participate in the Chunin selection. Just do it together. Tsunade, I have to tell you bad news. What news? Tsunade asked in confusion. Before you, Orochimaru and Jiraiya had passed the Chunin selection exam, and now the 2 of them are Chunin. That is, you are the only genin in your group. How could they do this? Tsunade was furious. Although a group of 3 is required to take the test, there is no requirement that they must be in the same group. No matter what the combination is, as long as there are 3 people. Looking at the angry Tsunade, Ta Xinyao held a moment of silence for the Orochimaru and the 2 in his heart. He knew that when the Orochimaru came back, Tsunade would definitely trouble them. Originally, I was going to wait for the 2 of them to come back. In that case, I'll find someone to participate in the Chunin selection. By the way, how long is the next Chunin selection? It should be less than 2 months. Dong Shenyao said after thinking about it. It's enough time. By the way, how did you think of becoming a teacher? Faced with Tsunade's question, Dong Shenyao naturally wouldn't tell the truth. Could it be that I'm just trying to trick those poor children? I am a teacher of course for the next generation of Konoha village, and cultivate a group of pillars for our Konoha. Tashinyao said it was righteous, but Naoki and the others would definitely cry when they heard it. Chapter 391 Talent. I am a teacher of course for the next generation of Konoha village, and cultivate a group of pillar talents for our Konoha. Tashinyao said it was righteous, but Naoki and the others would definitely cry when they heard it. They didn't want to be the pillars. Well, they just want freedom. Soon it was time for school, and Naoki returned shortly after. Today Naoki is very happy, or the whole class is very happy, because although Tashinyao still left homework today, but very few, this is a gift for Naoki and the others. Of course, no one except Naoki knew why, only Naoki guessed that it should be because Tashinyao was in a good mood today. Naoki guessed right, Dong Shenyao was in a really good mood today. After all, he saw Tsunade after a long absence. The shadow clone, who had all his memories, was especially kind, but he left a little homework. Naoki went to look for Tsunade as soon as he came back. After entering the courtyard where Tsunade lived, he saw Tsunade and Tashinyao sitting together at a glance. Sister, I'm back. The arrival of Naoki disturbed the two of them. Dong Shenyao smiled, but he remembered it in his heart. Naoki, just wait for me and see what I do with you tomorrow. Naoki doesn't know yet, he has been missed by Tashinyao. Or else, I am still a child, and I am still ignorant about the relationship between men and women. If it was an adult, I would never break in and disturb the two at this time, just like Haruko, who has not come for a day. At this time, Naoki was still happy that he had less homework today, but he didn't know that tomorrow he would suffer. How is Naoki going to school today? Are you naughty? Seeing his younger brother, Tsunade's face showed love. My elder sister is very obedient. If you don't believe me, ask brother Yao. He is his teacher. Naoki turned to look at Dong Shenyao. Tsunade Naoki is usually very good. At this time, Tashinyao didn't embarrass Naoki, and he was telling the truth. Of course, Naoki didn't dare to be disobedient. After all, Dong Shenyao's punishment was no joke. Since he was punished for cleaning the toilet once for being late, he never dared to violate the discipline again. Just be obedient, you can't trouble your brother Yao. Now Naoki wants to cry. He wants to ask Tsunade if he is his sister. How can he say such a thing? Originally Naoki was going to complain to Tsunade about Dong Shenyao's bad behavior, but now he has seen it through. Given the relationship between Tsunade and Tashinyao, after he complained, I am afraid Tsunade will not only not embarrass Tashinyao but will teach him a lesson. Naoki, you still have homework to do, hurry up and do your homework. Tashinyao looked at Naoki with a kindness on his face. Naoki succumbed to the threat in the dazzling eyes of the Eastern god. That's sister, I'm going to do my homework, so I won't bother you. After saying that, Naoki didn't care whether Tsunade would keep him or not, and trotted away. This kid. Tsunade smiled helplessly as he watched Naoki's figure leave. Without Naoki's interruption, Tashinyao and Tsunade were tired of being together again. That night, Dong Shenyao left after having dinner at Tsunade's house. When they parted, they were a little reluctant to part, but Dong Shenyao couldn't live here, so they finally parted. The next day, Dong Shenyao directly divided several shadow clones, when they were in the Dark Blade and the school, and he himself went on a date with Tsunade. Of course, Dong Shenyao did not forget to punish Naoki, but this matter was directly handed over to Shadow Clone, and Dong Shenyao didn't care about it. When he saw Naoki again that night, he was looked at by Naoki with resentful eyes. Uneasy. As time passed, Dong Shenyao and Dong Shenyao calmed down not long after they met. Although they were not as excited as when they first met, the relationship between the two also heated up sharply. Now Dong Shenyao's daily life has become more abundant, and everything else is left to shadow clone. Dong Shenyao concentrates on accompanying Tsunade. Of course, it is not to talk about love with Tsunade, but to practice with Tsunade. After all, they both it as a ninja. Although he is in love at this time, he will not forget to practice. After several years of training, Tsunade's strength has also increased a lot. Now Tsunade is only 13 years old, but he already has strength comparable to ordinary Jonin. And now Tsunade is in the golden stage of strength growth. Strength is the same day by day, although the strength increases not much every day, but it adds up. Dong Shenyao judges that it will take a few years before Tsunade can become an elite Jonin. It has to be said that talent is something that cannot be envied. Others may not be able to become an elite Jonin if they work hard all their lives, but for someone with outstanding talent like Tsunade, as long as they work hard, it is not difficult to become an elite Jonin, even reaching Cage level also holds great promise. More than a month later, Tsunade participated in the Chunin selection. As for the teammates, they were two people she randomly found. This Chunin exam was originally organized by Konoha village itself. It was not difficult. With Tsunade's strong strength, everything went smoothly without any accident. Tsunade successfully passed the exam and became a Chunin. As Tsunade's lover, Dong Shenyao naturally paid attention to this exam. Although Dong Shenyao's energy was mostly on Tsunade, there was still one person who caught his attention. That is, looking at the familiar but unfamiliar green tights and the thick eyebrows, Dong Shenyao suddenly thought of the wonderful master and apprentice in the original book, Might Guy and Little Li. Of course, although this master and apprentice are a bit funny and belong to a strange pair, Dong Shenyao admires them very much, because their efforts are unmatched by others, even Dong Shenyao can't do it. Thick eyebrows, and those other clothes, he can't be Might Guy's father. Thinking of this, Dong Shenyao immediately investigated. Might Guy, 16 years old, graduated from the ninja school, is a famous crane tail, began to participate in the Chunin examination at the age of 14, all failed. Looking at the information collected by the dark blade in his hand, Dong Shenyao knew that his guess was correct. It's interesting, if I hadn't seen him, I'd have forgotten, but this Might Guy is also a talent, and he was able to develop a forbidden body technique called the 8 Inner Gates. In Dong Shenyao's mind, Might Guy is definitely better than his son Might Guy, also outstanding talent. After all, Might Guy can be said to have been guided and inspired by his father, so he was able to persevere. Even the 8 Inner Gates was taught by his father. On the other hand, Might Guy can only rely on himself, and he can only bear it alone in the face of other people's cynicism. Chapter 392 Meet Might Guy. Might Guy, a person who was ridiculed by many people, even graduated from the ninja school very reluctantly. If the war broke out at that time, the village was in urgent need of ninjas, so the conditions for graduation were much lower, and even Might Guy could not graduate at all. Like everyone else, Might Guy graduated from ninja school when he was 6 years old. Now he is 16, and it has been 10 years since he graduated. At that time, many people around him who graduated at the same time as him have become Chunin, even some younger than him. He also became a Chunin when he was young, and only he, Might Guy, was still a genin, and even at the bottom of the genin. Many people even persuaded Might Guy to give up and stop being a ninja, because it has no future for him. In the eyes of everyone, Might Guy is a genin in his life, even his parents said so. However, Might Guy did not give up and continued to practice hard every day. Of course, under the efforts of Might Guy, it is not without results. If it is only in terms of physical skills, he is no worse than Chunin, and even some elite Chunin may not be comparable to Might Guy in terms of physical skills. But unfortunately, Might Guy has a fatal flaw, that is, he can't do anything other than taijutsu, such as ninjutsu, demonic illusion, etc., and even the use of ninja tools is terrible. Although his physical skills are good, it is not enough. Ninjas are basically all-round development, and they are only good at one aspect at most. For example, Kudo Shun, although he is good at taijutsu, does not mean that he is not good at ninjutsu and demonic illusion. On the other hand, Might Dai's physical skills are really strong, but if he just relies on physical skills, he can't beat the real Chunin, because ninjas mainly look at comprehensive strength. Although I have already understood some of Might Dai's experiences from the original work, when Dong Shenyao read the information, he still felt some sympathy for Might Dai. Since you are destined to become a strong person, then I will help you to force it. Dong Shenyao thought to himself. Although Might Dai is only a genin until his death, no one can deny his strength. Facing the 7 ninja swordsmen in Kurigakure village alone, and finally beheading 4 of them, this record can be described as brilliant. After all, it is possible to become the 7 ninja swordsmen, not to mention all cage level, at least the peak level. Elite Jonin, and even quasi-shadow and cage level exist. But unfortunately the 8 inner gates is powerful, but the drawbacks are also very obvious, so although Might Dai has a brilliant record, he died because of the forbidden technique. This day, Might Dai was practicing alone on the training ground as usual. At this time, he was still very young and looked very motivated, constantly kicking the stakes. Bang, bang, bang. You can hear from the sound that every stroke is so hard. At some point, a person appeared beside Might Dai. At this time, Might Dai devoted himself to cultivation, so he didn't find anyone beside him. 991, 992. Might Dai shouted every time he kicked, and when he hit the 2900th kick, he was finally exhausted. It still won't work. I haven't finished kicking 3000 times, and I will run 100 laps around the training ground in a while. Clap, clap, clap. Just when Might Dai fell to the ground to rest, there was a sudden burst of applause, which surprised Might Dai, but because of the Konoha village here, he was not afraid. Looking in the direction from which the applause came, Might Dai found that the applause was a young man who seemed to be no more than 20 years old. Yes, it's you. Might Dai soon recognized the person, which made him so excited that he even forgot his physical exhaustion and jumped directly from the ground. Master Dong Shenyao, it's you. Might Dai, you know me. Dong Shenyao was a little curious. Sir, you are my idol. Of course I know you. I took the Chunin exam with you at the beginning, but unfortunately I didn't pass the first exam. Might Dai said with great regret. Dong Shenyao was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Might Dai also took the exam, but there were so many people at the time, so Dong Shenyao was not surprised that he didn't notice Might Dai. Sir, you are younger than me, but you are so strong. You are the most talented ninja. You are my idol, Might Dai said with a look of admiration. Hee, Might Dai, you've won the award. I should worship you. I'm just a little bit better in talent, but in terms of hard work, I'm not as good as you. Dong Shenyao is telling the truth. Although compared with others, Dong Shenyao has been working very hard, but compared to Might Dai, he is nothing. My lord, my talent is not good. If I don't work hard, how can I compare with others? Might Dai said in a depressed mood. Might Dai, don't belittle yourself. Although you don't have talent in other areas, I'm very optimistic about you in physique. Really, Might Dai was a little excited after being affirmed by his idol, but he was ridiculed over the years, which made Might Dai a little unconfident. Of course it's true. In terms of physical skills, even an elite Chunin is not as good as you. This is your talent. But what's the use of it? After the initial joy, Might Dai was frustrated again. It's just that the physical skills are useless. I can't even beat Chunin. Might Dai, who said taijutsu is useless. Now your overall strength can only be compared with the elite genin, but if you continue to practice hard, will taijutsu reach the level of jonin, or even elite jonin? Even if you can't ninjutsu, in terms of strength, it will not be inferior to Chunin or even jonin. Dong Shenyao encouraged. Sir, can I really do it? Might Dai was a little confused at this time, because there really isn't anyone in the ninja world who can be so strong just by relying on taijutsu. Moreover, Might Dai feels that he has reached the limit of 3.5. Although he is still working hard in recent months, his strength has hardly increased. At this time, he is even a little desperate. Of course it's true, Might Dai, I know a kind of physical art. This kind of physical art is very suitable for you. I wonder if you are willing to learn it. Really, please, my lord, teach me. As long as you can make me stronger and prove myself, you can make me do anything. Might Dai excitedly looked at Eastern God and said. Might Dai, as long as you can protect the village well. Although he said that, at this time Dong Shenyao had already opened the Eternal Mangekyo, and before he knew it, Might Dai had been subtly influenced by Dong Shenyao. Might Dai, don't practice today, rest well after you go back, we'll meet here tomorrow evening, and I'll officially teach you taijutsu at that time. Chapter 393 Teach the 8 Inner Gates. The next evening, Might Dai arrived as promised, but when Dong Shenyao saw him, he found that he had a pair of panda eyes and looked like he had not slept well. You don't need to ask Dong Shenyao, it must be because Might Dai was too excited yesterday, so he couldn't sleep. Dong Shenyao didn't say anything about it. Anyway, he just taught Might Dai the 8 inner gates today. As for future practice, Dong Shenyao couldn't help much, the 8 inner gates mainly had to rely on themselves. Of course, it wasn't Dong Shenyao himself who came at this time. He didn't have so much time to waste on Might Dai. If he had time, he might as well accompany Tsunade. The one who came out now was Dong Shenyao's Earth avatar. Shadow clone is not used as because the 8 inner gates will cause certain damage to one's body when used. If it is shadow clone, once the 8 inner gates are used, shadow clone will disappear immediately. My lord, I'm here, can we start now? Might Dai couldn't wait to see Dong Shenyao. Okay, but before I teach you, I want to introduce this ability to you in detail. After speaking, Dong Shenyao didn't care whether Might Dai was impatient or not, he said it directly. The ability I'm going to teach you is called the 8 inner gates. It's a pure physical technique, and this ability can be called the forbidden technique. Although I don't know the specific content of the 8 inner gates, the word forbidden technique alone makes Might Dai serious. What can be called forbidden technique may not have much power, but it may endanger the user's life. For example, the multiple shadow clone technique is not difficult to cultivate, as long as the number of chakras is large, and the power varies from person to person, and the reason why it is called the forbidden technique is entirely because if you accidentally separate the shadow clone too much, then it is likely to cause the body to die directly. In addition, there is also the seal of ghouls, which does not need to be said, it can only be used at the cost of life, so it is the forbidden technique. Might Dai also knew about the change of forbidden technique, so after learning that Dong Shenyao was going to teach him a forbidden technique, Might Dai's expression also became solemn, but he was not afraid of it. There are 8 restrictions in the human body. These 8 restrictions control the chakra, so that the ninja will not cause harm to the human body when using chakra, and these 8 restrictions can also be called 8 portals. These 8 portals are respectively it is named after the door of opening, the door of closing, the door of life, the door of injury, the door of do, the door of jing, the door of shock and the door of death. Once the ninja opens these 8 gates, it will lift the restrictions on chakra, which will allow the ninja to burst into a powerful strength in a short period of time, and the technique of the 8 inner gates is the way to open these 8 gates. My lord, why is it called the forbidden technique? Might Dai asked. It's very simple, because it will cause harm to the human body. The reason why these 8 restrictions exist is to protect the human body. Once the restrictions are lifted, the number of chakras will skyrocket, and the output will also increase, which will not only harm the human body. If it reaches the meridians of the human body, it will destroy the entire body. If the body is not strong enough, I am afraid that after using the 8 inner gates, before defeating the enemy, I will die first. Therefore, this technique of the 8 inner gates is completely capable of injuring 1,000 enemies and 800 self, and should not be used lightly. However, although the disadvantages are great, the power is not small, and it can completely increase the user's strength several times in a short period of time. After hearing Dong Shenyao's words, not only was Might Dai not afraid, but his eyes showed anticipation, as if there was a voice telling him that this was the most suitable physique for him. "My lord, I want to learn this physical art," Might Dai said firmly. "Don't worry, since I've said it, I'll give it to you, but don't worry. Although the 8 inner gates is powerful, it's not small, so before this practice, I want to tell you some taboos." Hearing this, Might Dai immediately made a listening expression, waiting for Dong Shenyao to tell the taboo. The opening of the 8 inner gates requires step-by-step practice. It is impossible to open all the 8 gates as soon as they come up. This is something no one can do, only after a long period of practice. The sequence of opening these 8 gates as I just said, they are the door to open, the door to close, the door to life, and the final door to death. The more doors you open, the greater your strength will increase. Of course, if your own strength is too strong, then the number of doors you open will be too large. Less power will not increase. For example, if a genin just opens the door, his strength can be doubled, but if a cage-level master opens the door, his power will not increase a bit. But in the same way, his body will not be damaged. So if you want to use the 8 inner gates, you must have a strong body, so I say this ninjutsu is very suitable for you, because your body is strong enough, and your talent and hard work can also make your body change. Be stronger. The practice of the 8 inner gates is very simple. It is a process of constantly breaking the limit and strengthening the body, so it is a bit boring to practice. My lord, I'm not afraid of being bored, as long as I can become stronger, because this is youth. Might Dai said with an enthusiastic look. Seeing this, Dong Shenyao shook his head helplessly, and thought to himself, as expected of 207 being a father and son, he has the same character as Might Dai. But soon he thought of little Li again. This little Li can't be Might Dai's illegitimate child, or why are the two so similar in character and appearance? Well, Dong Shenyao has some 8 trigrams, but fortunately he did not forget that Might Dai is still here, so Dong Shenyao did not continue to explore the relationship between Xiaoli and Might Dai. Might Dai, you must continue to strengthen your body in the future, because only in this way can you resist the backlash of the 8 inner gates, but you must use the 8th inner gates carefully. Speaking of this, Dong Shenyao's expression changed. Very serious. Why? Might Dai wondered. Because it will kill people. Just like its name, once the final door of death is also opened, then your life will come to an end, the door of death will open, and you will never die, so don't open it until the most dangerous time. Dead door, because then you will die too. I know, my lord. At this time, Might Dai also knew the seriousness of the matter. If he opened the other 7 doors, if he could survive, then if he opened the dead door, he would almost certainly die. Although Guy didn't die in the original book, he was rescued by Naruto using yin and yang escape, but in Dong Shenyao's view, it was worse than death. Chapter 394 Upcoming Graduation Season. In Dong Shenyao's view, although Guy in the original book is alive, it is worse than death. Because although Guy is still alive, his body is already crippled, and he can't even walk. Dong Shenyao couldn't believe it. It was a big blow to Guy. In Dong Shenyao's view, Naruto made a complete mistake. Instead of letting Guy linger on, it would be better to let him die in honor. At least he has bloomed the most dazzling flower of life. In the eyes of everyone, he is brilliant. Guy, their impression is that invincible gesture that almost killed Uchiha Madara. But in the end Guy survived and became a cripple. Although he is a hero, he will also destroy the invincible figure in the hearts of everyone. For ninjas, dying on the battlefield is always better than dying on the sickbed. Might Dai, I'll start teaching you the technique of the 8 inner gates now. Then, Dong Shenyao didn't say anything else, but directly explained the cultivation method of the 8 inner gates, and then explained some cultivation techniques. After all, Dong Shenyao himself has practiced the 8 inner gates, and now he has fully practiced it successfully. Sometimes Dong Shenyao even wondered if he could test if he could use his life force and inner strength to resist the counterattack of the 8 inner gates after the 8 gates were fully opened. But in the end he gave up because Dong Shenyao was afraid of death. However, he was somewhat expecting Might Dai to open the dead door, so that he could do an experiment to confirm his guess. Of course, Dong Shenyao assured that he taught Might Dai the 8 inner gates is definitely not for the purpose of experimenting whether the door can be cured after opening the door of death, and he must believe in Dong Shenyao's integrity. The training method of the 8 inner gates is not esoteric, or it is very simple and easy to understand. After all, this thing in the original book was developed by Might Dai. Can you expect a crane tail to develop a very esoteric ability? The most difficult part of the 8 inner gates is the practice. After all, it is to break the limits of the human body. In order to give Might Dai a more intuitive understanding of the 8 inner gates, Dong Shenyao opened the first door directly in front of him. Of course, opening the first door now is easier than eating for Dong Shenyao, but it is enough to point the way for Might Dai. The original book, The 8 Inner Gates, was originally developed by Might Dai. It can be said that this ability is very suitable for him, so Might Dai practiced very quickly and encountered almost no problems. Dong Shenyao guessed that with Might Dai's current strength, the most he can open the first door in a month. Of course, although this ability is very suitable for Might Dai, it will take a long time for Might Dai to reach the level of opening 8 gates. After all, understanding does not mean that it can be used, because the most critical factor restricting the use of the 8 inner gates is the body quality. If his physical fitness is not good, he may be dead before Might Dai opens the 8th door. Might Dai, let's practice hard. If you can open 6 gates, then your strength is at least comparable to the elite Jonin, and it is not impossible to even reach the quasi-shadow. If you can open the 7 gates, you can at least be comparable to the quasi-shadow, and even reach the cage level. And if you open all 8 doors, then your strength will surpass cage level. Come on, Sao Nian. Quote. What Dong Shenyao said that Might Dai was full of enthusiasm and devoted himself to cultivation. He could not wait to open the 7 doors in the next second. As for all 8 doors, Might Dai doesn't want to die yet. After teaching the 8 inner gates to Might Dai, Dong Shenyao did not go to pay attention to him, but only occasionally met with Might Dai to answer some questions. But Might Dai began to practice the 8 inner gates for a year after that. There was absolutely no need for Dong Shenyao's guidance. It has been a year since Dong Shenyao taught Might Dai to practice the 8 inner gates. During this time, Dong Shenyao spent most of his time practicing with Tsunade. As for teaching the students, it was naturally left to Shadow Clone. As for the annual meeting of the Underground Exchange, Dong Shenyao did not go either. Originally, Dong Shenyao planned to take advantage of the annual meeting, when the 9 elders of the Underground Exchange gathered and controlled them in one fell swoop, but after thinking about it, Dong Shenyao felt that this was unrealistic. Those businessmen are okay to say, but those bounty hunters are not easy to handle. Dong Shenyao's current strength is not sure to catch them. As for killing them, if it is possible, Dong Shenyao is not prepared to do so. It is precisely because he was not sure that Dong Shenyao gave up this annual meeting and planned to implement this plan when he was stronger in the future and had greater assurance of success. Anyway, the task that Dong Shenyao received was still far away from the deadline. For a long time. A year later, Tsunade left the village. Although the two were very reluctant to part with each other, Dong Shenyao did not hold back. Tsunade also bit Kiba and forcibly held back his tears and left the village. Both Orochimaru and Jiraiya left the village to travel. Traveling is also very important for ninjas, because doing so can increase the ninjas' knowledge and hone their strength during the travel. Tsunade pursued greater strength, so she also embarked on this path. Although Dong Shenyao was reluctant, he did not want Tsunade, one of the Sanins in the original book, to disappear. For the future of Tsunade, he chose to support Tsunade. Of course, Tashinyao believes that with his support, Tsunade will definitely go further than the original. Time is like water. In the blink of an eye, Tsunade has been away from the village for nearly 2 years. During this period, Tsunade has only returned to the village once. After meeting at that time, Dong Shenyao found that Tsunade had matured a lot, which made him think of a sentence, read 10,000 volumes of books. It's better to travel 1,000 miles. Obviously, the experience of going out has made Tsunade well informed, and the whole person has matured. On this day, it was very strange that Dong Shenyao did not send Shadow Clone, but the main body came to the school. Classmates, 3 years have passed, and you are about to graduate. Looking at the children who have grown up in the classroom, Dong Shenyao's face is reminiscent, compared to when he first entered school 3 years ago. These children have grown up a lot. Although these students used to call Dong Shenyao the devil teacher behind their backs, but when they thought about leaving the school, the two sides would be separated, and they were really a little reluctant. The students will have their graduation exams in 1 month. They will have a field practice training tomorrow. This is also the last class of your ninja school career. Remember not to be late. We will meet at the school tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Don't worry, teacher, we will definitely not be late. Chapter 395 Field Combat. Because it is the last month before graduation, the courses to be taught have already ended. In the past 6 months, there have been no theoretical courses, almost all of them are practical courses. Occasionally, Dong Shenyao will lead the team to the field. Practical drills. Therefore, these students have been relatively relaxed in the past 6 months, at least they no longer need to do those homework. After explaining the matter, Dong Shenyao left. Although it was not time for school, for students who were approaching graduation, their time was very free. Soon everyone left one after another and went home to pack up and prepare for tomorrow's field battle. This is not their first field practice course, so they are very familiar with the preparation work. Soon it was time for the second day. Dong Shenyao came to the school early in the morning and waited on the playground. Soon many third graders came to the playground to gather. This time, it is not their class, but the entire third grade class to conduct practical drills together. When the time came to 8 o'clock, all the students had arrived, and under the guidance of the teachers of each class, they were standing neatly on the playground. Compared with when I first entered the school, there are fewer students. After all, not everyone is suitable for 117 to be a ninja. Some people still can't extract chakra after 3 months of school. Such people are not suitable for ninjas, so has left school. There are also some people who dropped out of school due to general reasons. It can be said that except for the class led by Dong Shenyao, other classes have experienced attrition. Seeing that everyone had arrived, Dong Shenyao began to speak. Everyone, you should be familiar with the field drills, but what I want to say is that this time the field drills are different from the usual ones, because this time the teachers of each class will not follow. Everything is completely it's up to you. What? How could this be? It's scary, Mom, I'm going home. No, Yamidi. As soon as Dong Shenyao's words fell, hundreds of students began to discuss, and many of them showed timidity. After all, they were just a group of 6 or 7-year-old children. When they thought that without adults leading the team, they would face the attack of wild beasts alone. Many timid people turned pale, and some little girls even had tears in their eyes. Dong Shenyao is not surprised by this situation. After all, they are still a group of children who have never seen blood. If they are allowed to survive in the wild, they will naturally be afraid, but Dong Shenyao has not changed this because of their performance. Sub-rules. After taking a general look, Dong Shenyao found that the students in his class were the best performers. Although a few people seemed a little worried, most of them were not only not afraid, but rather eager to try. In fact, this is also normal. It does not mean how good the teaching of Dong Shenyao is. After all, most of the students in the first class are from the ninja family. Because of their family members, they can contact real ninjas since childhood. Surviving in the wild is not so scary, but rather looking forward to it. Okay, shut up. With Dong Shenyao's scolding, the students suddenly shut up. The rules have been formulated. You have no strength to resist, so you can only accept it. Now let me tell you about your mission. This time, the field of your field battle is in the forest in the back mountain. At that time, each of you 3 will form a team. Enter the forest to look for the token. The token is in my hand. Said, Dong Shenyao took out a token and shook it in everyone's eyes. I have arranged for 10 tokens to be placed in the forest before, that is to say, only 10 groups of you can get tokens at most. This time, the actual combat practice time is 3 days. After 3 days, you need to come back here to gather by yourself. The team that gets the token at that time is considered qualified and can get extra points in the graduation exam. And those who don't get the token must also come back here. If they don't come back within the specified time, then you will not only not gain points, but also lose points. Do you understand? Listen clearly, hundreds of people shouted in unison. Okay, now the teachers from each class will be divided into groups. After speaking, Dong Shenyao walked towards the first class. Now I'm going to group you all listen carefully. Dong Shenyao didn't give the students a chance to ask questions, and after walking over, he read the list according to the list he had already made. Panasonic Deja, Dajiang Shangdu, and Kahara Ling, you are a group of 3. Seru Tobi is delightful. Nara Kazuma, Akamichi Kuchi, Yamanaka Yuta, U3. Senju Nawaki, Uchiha Makoto, Hyuga Hazashi, all 3 of you. Okay, the grouping is over. Everyone finds their own group members. As for who is the group leader, you decide for yourself. As the voice of Dong Shenyao fell, everyone immediately took action. After all, they have been studying together for 3 years, and they are very familiar with each other, so it didn't take long for everyone to join others. You can ask some questions now. Once the mission starts, you won't have the opportunity to ask questions. Dong Shenyao said after glancing at everyone. Teacher, can we snatch the token? Nara and Ma first asked. Of course you can, but one thing you have to pay attention to is don't kill people. Can we go back to the village during the mission, teacher? Hyuga Hazashi asked this time. No, you must stay in the forest for the first 3 days of the mission. Only in the second half of the last day can you start returning to the village. Then the others asked some things one after another, to which Dong Shenyao basically answered. Okay, you should have already finished asking what you should ask. Now each of your groups come to me in order to get the map. This time you need to go to the forest marked on the map, so don't go wrong. That's right, all kinds of unexpected things can happen in the forest, so good luck to everyone. Quote. Although they were a little curious about the so-called accident of Dong Shenyao, they also knew that if they asked again now, Dong Shenyao would not answer, so they could only start to receive maps. After receiving the map, Dong Shenyao will send them away directly after each group gets the map. Naturally, this is to prevent these groups from having a chance to act together. Soon everyone set off, and the playground became empty for a while. Principal, will there be no problem with this training? Seeing that the students had all left, a teacher couldn't help but find Dong Shenyao. All the content of this training was handled by Dong Shenyao, and even these teachers did not know the specific content. Chapter 396 Accidents. Facing the worries of the school teacher, Dong Shenyao couldn't help but smile confidently. Don't worry, nothing will happen, and I will go over and watch, even if there is an accident, I will not be afraid. Hearing Dong Shenyao's answer, the teacher who asked did not feel that Dong Shenyao was arrogant, because Dong Shenyao's strength had been recognized in the village, and there were rumors at the end of the war that Dong Shenyao's strength was comparable to that of Cage Level Master. Even if this rumor is wrong, the strength of the peak quasi-shadow is always there. It has now been 6 or 7 years since the end of the war, and Dong Shenyao has already entered the golden stage of strength improvement, so no one doubts Dong Shenyao's strength, and even most people believe that the current strength of Dong Shenyao is absolutely no weaker than cage-level powerhouses. The only thing that needs to be guessed is what stage of cage-level Dong Shenyao's strength has reached. After answering the teacher's question, Dong Shenyao did not stop at the school, but left directly. These graduating students are the cornerstones of Konoha village, and some of them are more likely to become the branch Jinchuriki, column of Konoha village, so the safety of these students is also very important. All preparations have been made. I don't dare to say that there will be no accidents, but at least Dong Shenyao can guarantee that even if an accident occurs, he has the strength to protect these students. For this training, Dong Shenyao even used the dark blade. At this time, nearly 7 years have passed since the end of World War I, and the strength of the dark blade has also undergone earth-shaking changes. Some of the orphans who were trained back then had now become full members of the dark blade. The training for these orphans is far stricter than that of the students in the school, so after 3 years of training, they all have good combat power, and some of them even have the strength of genin. After that, they were led by Hyuga and the others to do some simple tasks to strengthen their actual combat capabilities. At this time, it has been 3 years since the first batch of orphans participated in the actual combat. Although some orphans were sacrificed in the mission during this period, most of them survived and their strength has increased a lot. Of course, they became full members of the Dark Blade. But not much. The standard of the official members of the Dark Blade is the same as that of Anbu, that is, Chunin. Only when the strength reaches the level of Chunin, can they be qualified to become the official members of the Dark Blade. 3 years of training, plus 3 years of performing tasks, a total of 6 years. Although these orphans are very hard-working, and Dong Shenyao has provided them with good training resources, after all, most orphans are not at their age. Not much, and many have not yet entered the golden stage of strength growth, so there are only a dozen or so people who have reached Chunin at this time. However, everyone else already has the strength of genin and belongs to the reserve members of the Dark Blade. If nothing else, most of them will become the official members of the Dark Blade in a few years. And this training Dong Shenyao was handed over to the Dark Blade to handle. The placement of the token was done by the members of the Dark Blade, and the vigilance work was the same. Even the new batch of Dong Shenyao was about to end the training. The orphans were sent out to hide in the forest and attack the students participating in the training, making this mission more difficult. If the Dark Blade wants to grow and develop, it naturally needs a steady stream of fresh blood, but unlike Anbu members are all selected from the ninjas of Konoha village, so there is no need to worry about members. But the Dark Blade is not good. They are not qualified to do so, or Dong Shenyao disdains to do so. He values his own training more, because only in this way can the loyalty of the members be ensured. Kakashi in the original book, he has already joined the Roots, but he still betrayed Danzo in the end. Dong Shenyao doesn't want this to happen in the Dark Blade. What he needs is people who are only loyal to himself, not loyalty people in the village and Hokage. After the training of the first batch of orphans finished 3 years ago, Dong Shenyao asked Darkblade to find another batch of orphans in the country of fire. After 3 years of training, it was time for these people to graduate. This mission is also an assessment of them by Dong Shenyao. It can be expected that there will be a violent conflict between the orphans cultivated by the Dark Blade and the students of the ninja school, but he did not pay attention to this Dong Shenyao, and his main responsibility is not to disturb the training. Although the location of this training is in the back mountain, it is far away from the village. At the speed of these students, even if there is no accident, it will take at least 3 or 4 hours to reach it. However, most of these students are not very familiar with this place, and even if they have a map, they will get lost, so it is not easy for them to arrive before noon. As Dong Sen had expected, it wasn't until noon that the first team finally arrived at the destination, and finally the last team arrived at dusk, and the members of the Dark Blade who were still guarding the last few teams couldn't stand it any longer. Yes, I sent them here, otherwise, I am afraid that after the 3-day training is over, they will still be wandering around in the back mountain. Soon the time came to the second day. Dong Shenyao was wandering around in the woods doing nothing, and suddenly a member of the Dark Blade found him. My lord, Captain Yixin found a ninja approaching here from 5 miles away. Huh, Wen Yan. Dong Shenyao suddenly put away the lazy expression on his face. Take me to meet Yixin. Yes. Soon Ta Shenyao saw Hyuga Izshin who was driving by a Kugan to observe the situation. What the hell is going on with Yixin? Dong Shenyao asked straight to the point. At the same time, he had already sensed a few chakra fluctuations thousands of meters away. The specific situation is still unclear. Now those ninjas are less than 3 miles away from here. There are not many ninjas, only 9, and their strengths are uneven. The weakest is only genin level strength, and the strongest is Elite Jonin. As for them who it was, it's not clear. Yixin, inform others to prepare to fight. After learning of the situation, Dong Shenyao gave an order directly. Yes. Soon Hyuga Aikido, Kudo-shun and other high-level Darkblade leaders have already arrived. Now those of them who first followed Dong Shenyao have become the veterans of the Dark Blade, but they are all good. The worst is the peak Jonin, and the strongest is the Hyuga family, which is already the peak. The elite Jonin is out, and at his current age, there is great hope of reaching the quasi-cage level in the future. There is no need for nonsense after everyone arrives, because before they come, they already know the situation from the ninja who notified them. The enemy has stopped a mile away. It should have spotted us. Get ready to fight. Chapter 397 Training with Increased Difficulty. After determining the strength of the enemy, Dong Shenyao has no plans to take action. The strongest of these people is only the elite Jonin, who can't arouse Dong Shenyao's desire to fight at all, and with Hyuga, their strength is sufficient. Handle. These people will be handed over to you, but remember, don't kill those two genin people, put them in and hand them over to the students. But Captain, is it really okay? Although these two are only genins, they must have both killed people and have rich combat experience. Kimura Fumino was a little worried. Don't worry, no matter how powerful they are, there are only two of them, and I'm still here, so let's get started. Following Dong Shenyao's order, Hyuga and the others could only put aside their worries and act immediately, and soon the battle broke out. Although Dong Shenyao didn't make a move, he didn't leave either. After all, there are still children in this forest. Once a strong man escapes and threatens those students participating in the training, it will be difficult to handle. Due to Dong Shenyao's instructions, Hyuga and the others did not embarrass the two genins, but deliberately let them go and tried their best to intercept the remaining 7 ninjas. At this time, these ninjas were a little depressed. They were all bounty hunters. Not long ago, they received a mission to collect some information in Konoha village, but they didn't expect that they were still a few hours away from Konoha village, and they met Konoha ninja. Interception. Although I don't know why the luck is so bad, I actually met the Konoha ninja, and the strength is so strong, but these people can only bite the bullet and fight. After all, now they have no way out. 2 of the genin level bounty hunters slipped away without even knowing it. From the beginning of the battle, they knew that the enemy's strength was all above them, so the 2 of them thought about running away and hiding themselves, but they didn't think that the Konoha ninjas didn't seem to see them and didn't attack them at all. Although there were some doubts, the 2 of them couldn't think about it any longer. Now all they have to do is to run away, and the farther they can run, the better. However, because of the deliberate guidance of Hyuga and the others, the 2 genin level bounty hunters could only run forward, not backward. It didn't take long for the 2 genins to enter the forest where the students participated in the assessment. Although he said it was fine, Dong Shenyao was also a little worried, so he sent a shadow clone to follow the 2 genins in secret to prevent them from hurting the students. It didn't take long for these 2 uninvited guests to be discovered, and it was not the students of the ninja school who first discovered them, but the orphans of the Dark Blade. After seeing that the 2 genins were not young and obviously could not be students, the orphans of the Dark Blade showed their good qualities through training. Knowing that the 2 had problems, they quickly organized a manpower match. The 2 launched a siege. Although these orphans are not even the reserves of the Dark Blade now, their strength is not weak, and there are many people, so they quickly won a genin, because they didn't know their identities, so they didn't kill them directly. And he chose to catch the one alive, but because of this, another genin escaped. However, this genin was also unlucky. Not long after he escaped, he met the 3 Nawaki. This grouping, Nawaki, Hyuga Hazashi and Uchiha Makoto are a group. They can be said to be the strongest group among the graduates this time. First of all 3 of them are from the top Konoha clan, among which Uchiha Makoto is a girl, but after being carefully trained by Dong Shenyao in the past 3 years, her strength can be said to be the strongest among her class, and she is comparable to genin, but she lacks combat experience. And Nawaki and Hyuga Hazashi are not bad, they have reached the genin level, of course, they are worse than Makoto. Someone. Hyuga Hazashi was the first to spot the escaped genin. Who? Naoki asked. There was a man running towards us more than 50 meters ahead. He was in his 20s. He should not be from our village. Hyuga Hazashi said with a serious expression. Prepare to fight. Naoki was very calm. He was the leader of the group, so he gave the order directly. Immediately, the three of them hid themselves according to the usual instructions of Dong Shenyao. Soon the genin approached the three Nawakas. Originally, based on genin's combat experience, it was possible to discover Naoki and the others. After all, although they learned a lot of knowledge from the school, they did not have much experience after all, and there were many flaws in concealment methods. But at this time, genin escaped for his life, so I was very flustered, so I didn't notice the ambush all around. Just after he entered the encirclement. Whoosh whoosh. A large number of shuriken flew around. Not good. Genin was startled. At this time he was already scared, so after encountering the attack, his first reaction was not to hide himself, but to continue to escape. Dang dang dang. With the kunai in his hand, genin blocked some shuriken, and he avoided some shuriken, but he was only genin after all, so he was injured in the end and was hit by 2 shurikens on the back. Bingo. But this genin didn't care that he was injured and continued to escape, when Hyuga Hazashi stopped him. Go away, kid. Genin swung the kunai thorn directly at Hyuga Hazashi after scolding. The person was a little nervous, but Hyuga Hazashi was expressionless and didn't show any timidity. Just when kunai was about to stab him, he ducked and slapped him. Bang! This hit directly on Genin's chest, knocking Genin back immediately, and at the same time Naoki also shot. Bang! Naoki tripped Genin directly with a sweep. Kadent fire style, great fireball jutsu. Woo! Uchiha Makoto made a 4.3 final blow and a huge fireball enveloped Genin. Not long after, a burning smell came out, the flame disappeared, and a scorched figure appeared on the ground. As for whether he died, it was unknown. Yeah. After winning, the three suddenly cheered. Bang, bang, bang. Ah. Immediately afterwards, the three of them cried out in pain. It turned out that they had been knocked on the head at almost the same time. Who is it? How dare you attack your uncle Naoki? Naoki shouted directly, but when he saw the person coming, he immediately wilted. That teacher, you're here. Looking at Dong Shenyao, Naoki subconsciously took 2 steps back. I attacked you, what are you going to do, Naoki, uncle? When talking about the uncle, Dong Shenyao obviously aggravated his tone. Chapter 398 End of Training. After seeing that it was Dong Shenyao who hit him, Naoki suddenly lost his temper. To say that the person he is most afraid of now is Dong Shenyao, and the second one is his sister Tsunade. Teacher, why are you hitting us? Naoki looked at Dong Shenyao and asked in aggrieved, and although Hyuga Hazashi didn't speak, he was watching Dong Shenyao closely, waiting for his answer. Only Uchiha Makoto didn't respond. Because in her opinion, there is no need for a reason for what Dong Shenyao does to her, because Dong Shenyao is her master. Why? You still have the face to ask why. Dong Shenyao glanced at the three of them sharply, and after meeting Dong Shenyao's eyes, all three of them lowered their heads. Tell me how I usually teach you and what to do after the battle. Is no need to say more, just such a sentence made the faces of the three Nawakas change greatly. Say it, you say it. I'm sorry, teacher, we were wrong. Hyuga Hazashi said embarrassedly, but Tashinyao ignored him. Since he looked at Naoki and asked, tell me, how did I teach you before? Naoki's body was shocked, and then he replied subconsciously, the teacher said that you can't relax after the battle. First, you must check whether the enemy has lost combat effectiveness, and then check whether there are other enemies around. After confirming that the surrounding area is safe, quickly sweep the battlefield and leave. Isn't this very skilled, but what were you all doing just now? I didn't check the enemy's situation, and I didn't confirm whether there were any enemies around. Instead, they cheered there. If there were any enemies, how would you die? I don't know. It seems that the number of times that you were asked to copy was still a little small. Now I order you to copy the things you have to do after the battle just 100 times before graduation. Just stay. After speaking, Dong Shenyao took the charred genin and turned to leave. 100 times. The three Nawaki looked at each other and saw the regret in each other's eyes, but they did not despair. Although 100 times seemed a lot, it was nearly a month before the graduation exam time, so if you want to complete it, it is still very simple. From this, it can be seen that Dong Shenyao is not deliberately embarrassing them. Hey, that's bad luck. Nawaki sighed. Okay, let's clean up the battlefield and leave, or be careful that the teacher will trouble us again. Uchiha Makoto reminded. Hearing that, Nawaki and the two exclaimed, and then they hurriedly cleaned the battlefield with the fastest speed, and then the three hurriedly left. And not long after the three left, several dark blade orphans chased after them. There are traces of the battle here. It seems that the man just escaped here. I wonder how he is doing now. It should have been resolved. Look here, there are still ashes. One person suddenly pointed to the place where genin fell to the ground. Although the three of Nawaki have cleaned the battlefield before, they are still very unfamiliar, so it is inevitable that they will leave some traces. Since it's been solved, we don't need to worry about it, but we can ambush for a while, maybe someone will come over later. It's a good idea. Several people soon agreed. Not long after, a group of students was attracted by the sound of the explosion, but they were tragic, and were ambushed in the dark and easily captured by the Dark Blade Orphan. Hey, so our mission is completed, let's go. After that, several people left with the students they caught. These Dark Blade Orphans also have tasks. Their task is that each group must catch a group of students and complete this task, then even if they pass the exam, they can become the reserve team of the Dark Blade. Then you can only continue to receive training. The battle between Hyuga and the others soon ended. After all, the strength of the two sides was very different. The last 7 bounty hunters died, those who were caught, and none of them escaped. Wen Yi, I'll leave the interrogation work to you. Dong Shenyao ordered. As for the genin who was turned into charcoal by Shadow Clone, although he didn't die at the time, Dong Shenyao would naturally not be kind to heal him, so this person died not long after, and the body was buried on the spot by Dong Shenyao. Well, I'll go back and deal with it now. After that, Konoha Fumino left with the 2 caught bounty hunters. Kimura Fumino is the captain in charge of the interrogation of the Dark Blade. In order to get more information from the captured prisoners, Dong Shenyao directly passed many secret techniques of the Yamanaka family to Kimura Fumino. Originally, Kimura Fumino majored in demonic illusion, and his spiritual power was relatively strong, so it was suitable for practicing the secret techniques of the Yamanaka family. Of course, Dong Shenyao did not forget to teach him spiritual power meditation. Not taught. Although it is only a basic meditation technique, Kimura Fumino's mental power has grown a lot in the past few years, enough to directly read the memory from the prisoner's mind. After all the bounty hunters were dealt with, the training continued. In a blink of an eye, 3 days have arrived. After noon on this day, many teams set off to return to the village. They did not forget that Dong Shenyao said before that they must arrive at the school before the sun sets, otherwise even if they get the token still a failure. Shenyao and the others did not leave the forest until everyone left. After the other tasks were handed over to the Dark Blade, Dong Shenyao returned to the school and waited for the students to return. Principal, how are the students? As soon as Dong Shenyao came back, he was entangled by several teachers. Don't worry, the students are doing well and no deaths have occurred. Hearing that no one died, several teachers were relieved. As for injuries, it was inevitable, and they had nothing to worry about. After more than 3 hours, someone finally came back, and the first group to come back did not exceed Dong Shenyao's expectations. It was the 3 Nawaki, but after seeing the 3, Dong Shenyao just nodded to them, but did not speak to them. Time passed, and soon the sun had set. At this time, the training was officially over. Of course, Not all the groups have come back, but those who have not come back have already failed. If they can't achieve excellent grades in the middle school, they may not be able to graduate. Those who get the token give the token to their respective teachers, and those who don't get the token can leave now. As soon as Dong Shenyao finished speaking, someone happily took the token and went to the teacher, while those who did not get the token could only leave in despair. Chapter 399 Graduation Exam. The groups that quickly got the tokens all handed in the tokens one by one. Before, Dong Shenyao placed 10 tokens in the forest, but not all tokens were obtained, although some of them got tokens. But was caught by the dark blade in the end, so the token was gone. In the end, a total of 5 groups got tokens, and 3 of them were in Dong Shenyao's first class. From this, it could be seen that the first class was the strongest. Of course, this is also normal, not only because the first class has such an excellent teacher as Dong Shenyao, but also because the students in the first class are basically from the ninja family. People in other classes. Of course, this advantage can only give them the upper hand in the early stage, and their future achievements depend on their own opportunities and efforts. Congratulations on getting the token, you are the winner, and each of you can get 10 basic points in the graduation exam. Yeah. The crowd cheered when they heard the words. Different from the original work, there are 3 graduation exams set by Dong Shenyao, each of which has a full score of 100. If you want to graduate successfully, you must pass 2 of them, that is, reach 60 points, and the total score is 60 points. Not less than 2%. Although the 10 points are not much compared to the total score, they are also very important. At least with these 10 points, the chances of them graduating will be even greater. As for those who do not return on time, 10 points will be deducted. After explaining the matter, Dong Shenyao sent all the students away. It was already dark at this time, so Dong Shenyao didn't stay long, and went home soon. Time is like water, and in a blink of an eye, time has come to the day of the graduation exam. Early in the morning, these graduating third graders came to the school one after another. Classmates, I haven't seen you for so many days, do you miss me? After entering the classroom, Dong Shenyao asked with a smile. Since the training ended more than 20 days ago, because there are no classes, these students are preparing for exams at home instead of attending school. Think. Everyone shouted in unison, looking very excited. Of course, this is basically acting. There is no way, if you don't want to, who knows how Dong Shenyao will rectify them, as long as they don't graduate one day, then they will still be under the jurisdiction of Dong Shenyao. Ha ha ha, very good. I'm very happy with your answers. Alright, let's start the first test. Said, Dong Shenyao handed out the test paper that he had already brought. Of course, he didn't forget to check the 100 times that the 3 Nawaki had transcribed. The first of the 3 graduation exams is a written exam. The content of the test paper is not difficult. As long as you listen carefully to the lectures, it is very easy to pass, but remember not to plagiarize, otherwise, you will be relegated to me. Dong Shenyao said very sternly. This is not the Chunin exam, it tests the intelligence-gathering ability of the ninjas. Now Dong Shenyao wants to examine their basic skills, so naturally they will not be allowed to copy. Of course, if you can hide from Dong Shenyao's observation, then you can plagiarize, but this is obviously impossible. It can only be said that the people in the first class are unlucky, because their teacher is a very powerful ninja. The exam lasted for an hour, and soon the time passed. After the exam was over, Dong Shenyao put away the scroll. Dong Shenyao deliberately looked at it when he was rewinding the scroll. Although he still didn't know what was right or wrong, at least everyone's scroll was full, which made Dong Shenyao feel that his teaching for the past 3 years had not been in vain. In fact, the written test is very easy for the students in Class 1. After all, Dong Shenyao often leaves them a lot of homework, copying all kinds of things. Okay, let's start the second test now. After putting away the paper, the second test has already started without giving the students time to rest. There are 2 main contents of the second test. The first one is the kunai throwing, and the second one is the most basic ninja technique, the three-body technique. These are not difficult, even for students, as long as they practice seriously. Although they don't get high marks, it is relatively easy to pass. The students in the first class were all good under Dong Shenyao's 3-year teaching, so after the final exam, only 2 people failed the second exam. Then the third exam begins. The content of the third test is actual combat, not for students to fight against each other, but to fight against the ninjas that Ta Shenyao brought. Soon 3 ninjas entered the classroom. These 3 people were arranged by Dong Shenyao long ago, and their strengths were almost the same. They were all Chunin. And the content of the exam is naturally not to defeat them. After all, not everyone is as evil as Dong Shenyao, who has the strength to defeat Chunin at the age of 6 or 7. These students only need to use all their strength. During the battle, Dong Shenyao will grade them according to their performance. The third exam took longer, so it wasn't completely over until the sun was about to set. Okay, the exam is over, you all go home first. Remember to come to the school tomorrow to collect the test results. After speaking, Dong Shenyao turned around and left. As soon as Dong Shenyao left, these students did not leave in a hurry, but started talking. It's over, I performed very poorly in the battle just now, will I fail? What should I do? What should I do if I repeat myself? Ha ha ha, I'll definitely be able to pass. A group of students gathered to discuss in 2s and 3s. Except for a few students who were very confident in themselves, most of them were very nervous and were afraid of failing the exam. They didn't want to stay in the ninja school anymore. It's not shameful. Instead, he was afraid of Dong Shenyao. In the end, these students left in an uneasy mood, waiting for the verdict of Dong Shenyao tomorrow. The night passed, and the next day many students came to school with dark circles under their eyes. Yesterday, they didn't sleep well because of the exam. Just after 8 o'clock, Dong Shenyao entered the classroom, and he was holding a lot of forehead guards in his hands. All the students' eyes were on the forehead guards. After 3 years of hard work, wasn't that what they did? The students seemed to be in good spirits. Looking at the gaunt faces of the students, Dong Shenyao laughed secretly in his heart, but what he said was the opposite. Very energetic. These students wanted to ask Dong Shenyao where he saw their spirit, but unfortunately, Dong Shenyao had too much power and they didn't dare to speak at all. Okay, now I'll announce the results. Oh Shoto passed, Akamichi Kuchi passed. Every student whose name was pronounced looked excited, and some even cheered. Great, I'm graduating. Hyuga Hazashi passed. Well, the above 24 students passed the exam, so they can graduate. The remaining 6 are very sorry, you still need to continue studying in school for another year. Ah, what's the matter? Several students who had repeated their grades suddenly wailed. They felt that the future was dark. Chapter 400 Guiding Jonin. No matter how those who repeated the grades complained, the matter has been settled. Their repetition is an established fact and cannot be changed. Of course, if Dong Shenyao, the principal, wants to, he can change it, but he will not do it. They are repeating for their own good. Okay, the results have been announced. First of all, congratulations to the students who passed the exam. From today onwards, you are officially graduating. Now you can come over to receive the ninja forehead protection. Of course, those who repeat the grades should not be discouraged. In the next year, you must work hard so that you can successfully graduate next year. Quote. The students who quickly passed the exam spontaneously lined up to receive their forehead guards at Dong Shenyao, and all the 24 students who passed the test soon got their forehead guards. The students who got their foreheads stay, and the others can leave. As for the repetition, the school will inform you later. Dong Shenyao's voice fell, and the 6 students who had repeated their grades left one by one in despair. Soon there were only 24 graduates left in the classroom besides Dong Shenyao. Classmates, I told you before that after graduation, you will be divided into 390 classes, 3 people will form a class, and a jonin will lead you to perform tasks together, and now I will announce your specific class assignments. After hearing Dong Xianyao's words, the students became nervous again, praying that they would be assigned to a class with their good friends or loved ones. The first shift, Matsushita Deja, Dajiang Shangdu, and Kahara Rei. Second shift, Nagayama Hiroshi, Nakajima Harudai, Yoshida Shinichi. The third shift. The fourth shift. The fifth shift, Senju Nawaki, Miyagawa Yuto, and Sarutobi are delightful. Shift 6, Hyuga Hazashi, Uchiha Makoto, and Kurama Yi. Okay, the class is over, I'll be here today, and you can get in touch with your future teammates in the next time. Remember to gather in the classroom at 8 o'clock tomorrow, when your guide Jonin will come to you. After speaking, Dong Xianyao didn't give the students a chance to ask questions, and turned around and left the teacher. The grouping of students was carefully arranged by Dong Xianyao. In addition to taking into account each person's strengths, they also considered each person's personality. Of course, the final result of the grouping was similar to the previous field training. In fact, the previous field training was it is the final assessment of each group, and if appropriate, it will be finalized. And the reason why Nawaki and Makoto were separated was because Ta Xianyao felt that the group was too strong, so he took Nawaki out and replaced Kurama Yi. Kurama Yi is a member of the Kurama family, but unfortunately his grades are almost at the bottom of the 24 graduates, so arranging with the powerful Uchiha Makoto can also balance the strength of each group. At the end of the grouping, everyone is happy and sad, but whether they like the result of the grouping or not, they must accept it. Just like Senju Nawaki, he was a little dissatisfied with the result, but he could only complain. Even in his capacity, he couldn't change the result, and he knew that it was useless to ask Dong Xianyao. Now that Dong Xianyao is free, he won't have anything to do next, and the rest will be left to the guidance of Jonin. To be able to guide Jonin, the strength must be at least Jonin, and sometimes there are even elite Jonin. In a blink of an eye, one day passed, and the next morning, the students came to the school early, waiting for the arrival of the guide Jonin. The students in each group gathered to discuss who their guide Jonin would be. Soon, one after another ninja arrived and took the groups away. Not long after, there were only 3 people left in the classroom, and it was the 6th class Uchiha Makoto. Makoto, who do you think the instructor of our 6th class will be? Why hasn't he come yet? Hyuga Hazashi asked. Who knows, but I think the instructor must have something to do. I guess our instructor should be a confused young man with no sense of time, otherwise it would be impossible to be so late. Kurama Yi said with some dissatisfaction. Yi, how can you say that to our teacher? Hyuga Hazashi criticized with a serious face, but the smile on his face betrayed his true thoughts, and he obviously agreed with Kurama Yi's statement. Yo, you make me so sad, you actually said that behind my back. Suddenly the door opened, and a voice that made them somewhat familiar rang out. Old teacher. When the 3 of them saw the people who came in, they were all stunned. That teacher, you misunderstood, I'm not talking about you, it's our guide Jonin. Kurama Yi quickly explained. Although he has graduated and is not under the jurisdiction of Dong Xianyao in name, but facing Dong Xianyao, he is still a little apprehensive. No, I didn't misunderstand, because I am your instructor. How are you happy? Dong Xianyao said with a smile. What? The 3 exclaimed at the same time. How could this be? My life is so dark. The faces of Hyuga Hazashi and Kurama Yi instantly turned ugly, and they even had an urge to repeat the class. If they knew that their guide Jonin would be Dong Xianyao, Hyuga Hazashi swore that they will definitely choose to repeat. Uchiha Makoto, although there is no expression on his face, but with a smile in his eyes, is obviously very happy with the result. Come with me. Dong Xianyao put away his smile at this time, greeted with a serious face, and walked out of the classroom. Although they were very dissatisfied with the result in their hearts, Hyuga Hazashi could only follow along obediently. Soon Ta Xianyao brought 3 students to a training ground in Konoha village. You all remember that this will be our assembly venue and training ground in the future. I won't say it again. I hope you don't make mistakes in the future. It's the teacher. The three of them shouted in unison. Everyone is acquaintance, so we don't need to introduce ourselves. Now let me tell you one thing. Don't think that it's over after graduation. Now you can only be regarded as ninja reservists, not real ninjas, everyone. All of you need to accept the assessment of the guide Jonin. Only by passing the assessment can you truly become a genin. If you fail to pass, then sorry, you still have to go back to the ninja school to study again. Quote. If it was another guide Jonin who said this, the three of them would definitely be very nervous and try hard to pass the test, but for Tashinyao, Hyuga Hazashi and Kurama Yi are already thinking about whether they want to fail on purpose. Then go back and reread.